the word I was looking for there, because it is going to be obviously the go home show. It is going to be a very interesting show. That Tony Khan huge announcement is massive. Everyone's talking about it. There's a lot of speculation as to what people think that it's going to be, and we're going to find out tonight. Apparently he is delivering that news himself. It's not going to be that there's a huge announcement and that the commentators are going to announce it, or they're going to have someone else in the ring that does it. Tony Khan is on the show tonight to deliver this groundbreaking announcement, so we're going to find out as to what that is. I think that it's going to be something to do with him buying a tape library, or him securing some kind of tape library and then potentially going into streaming. That seems to be where the conversation is. From a completely selfish point of view, I really want it to be something that I'm going to benefit from. I know that's like really selfish, but I want it to be something that is going to work for me. I mean, if the news is that they're going on to HBO Max, like, that's quite nice for AEW, but it doesn't do anything for me. So like that's, you know, I don't know if that would be really pleasing to you guys. I don't know if that would be something that would work for you lot if it went onto HBO Max, but I don't even know if that's available in this country. Even if it was available, do I want to subscribe to something else now? Not really. No, I definitely don't. So I just kind of think, like, if it's going to be that, I think it might be a bit underwhelming. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see as to what it comes out as, but I'm thinking it's going to be something along the lines of streaming service, got a tape library. Don't know, few rumors about maybe Ring of Honor. We'll have to see. Hello. Tony Khan is going to announce an NFT. Tonight's groundbreaking announcement is that there will be an announcement regarding an announcement on top of an announcement regarding a future announcement. Tim said RDA against Moicano is the new UFC 272 co-main event. Nathan said, what do you think Tony Khan's big announcement? Well, I've not heard any word on the street as to what it's actually going to be, but I think it's going to be something to do with a tape library and a streaming service and something like that, like the continued growth of AEW. I personally would love it if he's now going to be working with New Japan and they're going to put on a big show. That's something I would love, because there's a lot of dream matches. So that would be really cool. That would be what I would like it to be. But I don't think it's going to be that. There just seems to be a lot of talk around streaming services, which is making me think, is there something in that? So I'm starting to think it could be something along those lines. Ben, hello. I hope you are well, buds. I'm doing all right, mate. I'm doing all right. I'm looking forward to finding out what the flip Tony Khan has got in store for us tonight. That's what I'm looking forward to. James said, I don't either, because I'm already subscribed to 9 wrestling channels. I watched the first episode of Bel Air. It was too different for my liking, says Jim. That's interesting. The ring gear that Liv wore is now $850. I didn't even know she was selling it, to be honest. But the announcement will be that Cody's tattoo is going to stay with the company, says Grant. Well, that's great. I mean, I don't know if Cody's tattoo will be able to compete for the AEW Championship now that it's no longer a part of Cody. But that'll be very interesting to find out. I heard they've brought Ring of Honor, says Hunter. I must admit, I haven't seen that news. I've heard lots of rumors of various different things as people kind of guess and speculate. But I can't say that I've seen or been sent any, like, 100% this is it. Can I just say they do a fantastic job of keeping these things secret? If this was WWE, we would have known 2 months ago what this news was. So Tony Khan has done a very, very good job of ensuring that this information has not got out. Man United Hodge, shout out to you, buddy. 7 months subscribed. That is really cool. Really appreciate the support, dudes. And a big, big shout out to everyone that's joining us, that's subscribed to the channel. It really is greatly appreciated. And I must admit, the huge announcement has got me excited. I am excited. I am looking forward to finding out what it is. So I'm going into this week with optimism. In regards to what we've actually got on the show, let's just jump over to AEW and just see what the latest is, because sometimes they do tweet out a few things, and in fact they have. Let's have a look and see what we've got. So we've got a 15-team Casino Tag Royal. The winners will advance to Revolution. So lots of tag teams competing to get into the World Tag Team title match at this weekend. We've also got AHFO. Oh, hang on, what is this? First Tornado at Red. No, that's the weekend. Where's the big tweet that tells us everything? That's what I want. Here it is. Tonight on Dynamite, Hangman, Adam Page, Dark Order's Silver, and Reynolds taking on Adam Cole, reDRagon. We've got the Tag Team Casino Battle Royal, and we've also got the AEW GM Tony Khan makes a huge announcement. Can I just say, right, I think I've said it before, I'm going to say it again, right? This is the tweet they've sent out saying what is happening tonight, okay? I flipping hate it when they do that. I hate it when they do the acts, because, like, some of them you can work out, like Adam Page, but, like, Silver number 1, you're like, okay, Silver number 1, I'm guessing that's John Silver, and Alex Reynolds, okay, got that. Adam Cole, got that. KOR Combat. Like, if I didn't know that was Kyle O'Reilly, like, I would be struggling. So I really hate it when they tag them in, because their names are like, oh my God. So, yeah, that is what we've got in regards to a bit of a preview. Obviously, this is the go home for Revolution, so I'm sure there's going to be plenty of segments that are just going to be the little touches, you know, the fine little touches. I also saw, this is one for people in the UK, by the way. I don't know if you saw this, but we've got a little shop that's a bit like Five Below in America. It's kind of like one of those shops. It's cheap, but they do like quite a bit of food, actually. And there's few people that do like their weekly shop there. It's kind of like a cheap little shop where you can get some toys, you can get alcohol, you can get food, you can get a few bits and bobs. They sent a tweet out, look, 11 hours ago, B&M. They sent a tweet out saying B&M Hausen. How about that? B&M Hausen. So B&M here in the UK are, for some reason, showing support to Danhausen, and I don't know why. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But B&M Hausen from B&M. I saw that, and I was like, what? I don't even think they sell AEW figures or anything. I have no idea why that has happened, but fair play. Mitchell said, just some predictions. CM Punk is going to turn heel. AJ is going to be Edge. Omega returns at Revolution, and we get Undisputed Era versus the Elite. Yeah, I can vibe with some of those, Mitchell. I can vibe with some of those. I don't know that I want CM Punk to turn heel. Don't know how I feel about that. People are still loving him at the moment. Wouldn't be the worst. I mean, I wouldn't hate it, so it wouldn't be the worst. But yeah, I don't know if I'd go that way. But I'd be down for seeing how it works. But yeah, I think Undisputed Era against Elite. Surely that's going to happen. It's going to be a lot of fun when it does. Read Jericho's tweet about the announcement. I saw it, yeah. He said something like, it is big, it's a game changer. I mean, that then got people going, has Tony bought GCW? Because obviously he uses, like, game changer, so I don't know. I mean, look, he might have just said game changer and not even thinking about the fact that there is a GCW, or it might be a little clue. So, I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. B&M is all Elite. Tony said, I said Liverpool was going to beat Norwich 2-1. Well done. Big T said maybe AEW is going to have a partnership with Five Below and have their figures and exclusive merchandise. Do you follow Von Wagner's stalker on Twitter? No. I don't know what that means. Do you see Cesaro going to AEW? Apparently that was asked of Tony on the conference call, and he says he's interested in talking to him. He's interested in talking to him and Jeff Hardy, apparently. They both were asked, and he had praise for both of them. Big T said, if Rampage is moving to a different night, what night is it going to be on a Tuesday? I don't know that it is moving, to be honest. Oh, hang on. Yes, I do know. Yeah, Taboy, it just clicked, mate. It just clicked. Taboy was like, do you follow Von Wagner's stalker? And I was like, I don't know what you mean. And then it's just clicked that girl, yeah. No, I don't. No. I'm not going to follow some random girl. There's that girl that we saw in the crowd last night in NXT when Von Wagner came walking out. Taboy has put his stalking skills to great use and actually found her. And she is an NXT superstar, unsurprisingly. But she is an NXT superstar. And, yeah, I don't know what they're doing. When Von Wagner came out last night on NXT, you could clearly see her in the background going, in the crowd. They planted her in the crowd, and she was like, kind of doing all this. Like, I don't know if she's meant to be like stalking Von Wagner or infatuated with Von Wagner, but it was only a like few seconds, and then we never saw her again. And it was like, what? Who is this girl? What's going on? And NXT tweeted out about her, and Taboy found her. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see what that situation is. Austin said, I don't think Jeff's contract is over by Revolution, so I don't think he'll be there, says Austin. Minty says, could you do more Game Changer wrestling content? No. I don't watch Game Changing wrestling, so it's not part of my viewing. Tony says, he brought all the wrestling companies. It's all under a wrestling umbrella. Jimmy says, go watch scooter races and quiz bowls. What is your favourite daily wrestling show right now? What is daily wrestling show? What does that mean? Like weekly wrestling show? Jesus, I don't even know, to be honest. I don't even know. I think the state of wrestling right now is that none of them really are shining that bright. I kind of think that some weeks, like, AEW will be the best. Some weeks you might get NXT might be the best. Some weeks, never is it Raw. Some weeks it might be SmackDown, depending on what Roman's doing. But, God, to be honest, I really don't know. I mean, like, I would have said not long ago that AEW is probably the most consistent show. But it's been a while now since it's, like, really grabbed my attention. But they've definitely got a lot of people that I look forward to seeing. Like, I really like Serena Deeb. I really like Bryan Danielson. I really like Wardlow and what they're doing with Wardlow. So, you know, and I like Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. That's a good, interesting feud as well. I think the CM Punk MJF dog collar has been really good as well. So there's been some really, really decent stuff that they've done. But it's then, like, you know, you get pointless matches and like a lot of tag matches that don't mean anything, or you'll get like, I mean, like, wasn't it last week that we watched like that botch where Jade pinned that girl? No, she was pinned by the bunny, and it was Aubrey that refused to count the three. You know, you get stuff like that, and you're just like, what is this? What am I watching? So yeah, I think some of the shows are quite, most of the shows, if not all the shows, are quite inconsistent. I think James is flying the flag. I knew you'd put that in. Whenever this question comes up, James is always flying the flag for Impact. But, I mean, in all truth, I can't really fly the flag for anything. I think that Raw has been pretty poor for a long time. I think SmackDown has gotten worse since the draft. I think NXT has gotten worse since it became since actually it moved in the Performance Center. I think NXT is actually starting to show a few green shoots of recovery, in all fairness to it. And there's been a few things that have looked all right from NXT. Dolph Ziggler being on is kind of cool. And I really do like Wendy Chu, but look, we're not going to sit here and talk about NXT and getting stuck into stuff. I just don't think there is a show, for me personally, that consistently is knocking it out of the park. So we'll see. It's all to play for. We'll see what show can do that. Man United Hodge says, do you think the announcement will be at the start? I wouldn't think so, because, I'm sure they'll open with something and then go into the first match. That'll take up the first half an hour. If Tony Khan, to be honest, if he was clever, would probably do it right in the middle of the show, because that is how you're going to get people out of hour 1 and into hour 2. Don't forget, hour 1 into hour 2 is a critical time, because people might watch the first hour and then you're right at the start of the next hour, and that's when all the other shows begin, right? If you turn on the TV and it's 22 or something, you're not going to get stuck into a show that's coming towards the end. So, wrestling might be able to keep your attention, but once you get to that start of hour 2, you've got a choice then of, do I flip this over to the other channel to watch whatever, CSI or whatever it's called, or Law and Order or whatever it might be that people want to watch. And so people are going to be flicking around. So if I was Tony, I would start talking at about 5-2 and talk or make my way down to the ring at 5-2, and I would still be talking at about 5 past, 10 past, and take it from hour 1 into hour 2. And also, that keeps people around throughout that first hour. You wouldn't come out and announce we're going to do it here, because then people might just come back for that bit. But, show a few things first and then take people from hour 1 into hour 2. And I'm sure you've probably got something you can use as your main event. I'd probably do that. Right, mate. What have we got? Mitchell said, no, I'm not Mitchell. I love Law and Order. I've seen reports that big Tony Khan announcement is some deal with HBO Max. Yeah, could be. I mean, we're going to have to wait and see. If it is that, I must admit I'm going to be disappointed. That doesn't do anything for me. I think that would be AEW patting itself on the back a little bit. I don't know quite what that would do. Tony would need to say to us, the customers, the consumers, what we are going to get out of it, basically. We're going on to HBO Max. This is good for you because you can now watch any of the old shows anytime you want. We're going to be doing documentaries, and they're going to go on to HBO Max that are going to be exclusive to HBO Max. And we're going to do profiles of all of the wrestlers and all this kind of stuff. So I think if it is HBO Max, that doesn't really do it for me. But as long as they then say how we benefit from this, because it's great for them, it's more exposure for them. But why do I care about that? Fun fact, I don't. So I need to know why I should care. And why I should care is you're going to give me more content, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, blah, 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 blah. Ben the Tank says, why don't you watch NWA anymore? You used to. Yeah, so they moved it behind a paywall, and I think I still am subscribed, actually, now I think about it. I think I still am subscribed. I think it's £5 a month or something, and you get to watch it behind on Fight TV. But the simple fact was that there was a kind of community that joined us that it was hard for them to kind of stick around. I found that I was talking about the show, I would look in the chat and people were talking about other things because they weren't paying the £5. They didn't want to pay the £5 to watch the show. So as a result, it kind of felt like it was a wrong move, I think, by NWA. I understand they needed money. I understand that it was, they had to do it, the pandemic, all this kind of stuff. But there's no denying that the fan base the fan base that was around took a bit of a hit, because I saw it in the streams. So they then were on there doing that. And then I saw recently they've kind of come back, but I must admit, like, things have moved on now. We've got like the football channel, and it's just I would have to get back into it, and there would have to be like a demand for it. And to be honest, there's been no requests. There's been no requests for it. There's been no demand for it. I can't even say much hype around it, and certainly not that I've seen anyway. I'm sure it might be out there. Like, people might be raving about it. It might be a killer product. And I really enjoyed it when we were watching it, and it was on YouTube. But just because like of the way that it moved and went, and it kind of really disrupted the community and everything. So that was the reason for that. Matthew says, "Sup, I'm rooting for Thunder Rosa because she is from LA." Fair play. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a great match, that. And I know it's been well documented that that they are not going to be the main event. And I know that's divided opinion. But I don't know. For me personally, and I've said this before, I think that Hangman and Adam Cole really need to be dealt and treated like they are massive. Like that, they need to be treated like big deals, because I think they are struggling. I think they're struggling. And I don't think you can really afford to just chuck Hangman out there halfway through the show. I kind of feel like the show should open with Hangman. It should open with the champion. You know, like how Roman, let's just talk about this on the football stream, but you know how Roman comes down, the tribal chief, and we like watch him doing his entrance and all of this, and like, you know, his musical hit, and he'll pause, and he takes his time. He is the show. And it's kind of like Hangman just feels like, do you know what I mean? Like, he might walk out like in segment 3 or segment 5 or something like this, but you know, it's Hangman. It's like, I don't think they're treating him and making him big enough. You've got to make him feel like he is the man, the guy. Like, and there's loads of ways you can do that. So I personally don't mind if they have Hangman and Adam Cole as the main event as a result. Jason P says, "I'm going to go and see Stormzy in London on the 26th. Have fun, Jason. Have fun." I don't know where that is. Where is that? I haven't heard. I didn't know he was doing a tour, but I do like a bit of Stormzy. I watched his Glastonbury set from a couple of years ago, like live on BBC, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. The way he carries the belt doesn't help, says Shola. Do you know what? It is little things like that, to be honest. It is stuff like that that makes a difference. Again, that 1 week where he turned up and he had like a t-shirt and like a little vest thing on. And honestly, it looked like he'd just rolled out of bed. So it's kind of like, you know, I agree. He doesn't need to be in suits. That's not his style. But he looks a lot sharper. I think someone must have had a word, because since then he's looked a lot sharper with like how he dresses. But I do think just chucking him out there halfway through the show, now it's time for Hangman. Like, I'd have him opening and maybe even like, you know, doing a little something later in the show and like really do some stuff. Like maybe show him doing some charity stuff as well. Like, you know, or, you know, have him at the start and then a little thing where there's like kids excited to meet the champion, or whatever. Like, do whatever you can to make him feel big. Brock and Roman defend their title at MSG on March 5th as the road to WrestleMania. Also, Balor, Damian Priest. Do you think it should be televised? And I'm going to be there live. Should it be televised? Yeah, I think so. I think it could be a special. The only thing I would say is that, well, I don't know about televised, but I mean, you could certainly put it on Peacock. I think that it's a house show, and I think as long as it's billed as a house show, like you can't bill this as a pay-per-view, because it's a house show. There ain't much chance of titles changing hands or anything like that, but I think that, you know, putting on like these kind of house show things, I think people would tune into it. Maybe not loads of people, but people would tune into it, you know. I think it's a different vibe at a house show. It's a lot more relaxed. There's lots of little things that happen during house shows that, like, are just kind of fun little things like that take place on the circuit. You don't get them on Raw and whatever. And I think that you could, kind of show that on some of these kind of like specials. And I think that'd be really cool. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that'd be really cool just to have like something a little bit different. I mean, I went to like a house show, and it was kind of very relaxed. You had wrestlers that you saw earlier in the night come running down during a match and like interfering, but they weren't really involved in that kind of feud. And then like the match got turned into a tag match, and it was all like a bit of silliness. Like the rules were very lax. Do you know what I mean? Like they'd go out the ring and they'd be interacting with the crowd a lot more than what you would see on TV. In fact, the crowd interaction is really turned up, and it's all just a lot more chilled and relaxed. And like, I think if you were to watch it knowing this is a house show, it's a live house show, it doesn't mean anything, doesn't matter, it just lives in its own little world. Do you know what I mean? Then I think like you could get something from it. So, yeah, I do think that they should put it on, but certainly not bill it as a pay-per-view and make it out to be this massive, do you know what I mean, this month's pay-per-view. I don't think you need to do that, but I would love to see them start putting house shows up. Not all the time, because I think people would get burnt out. I don't think you need a house show every week, but just once in a while. Ed said, Rampage is moving to a different day and time slot and will go live. Is this news, or is that what you think the announcement's going to be? Playing Games says, I've seen a lot of people thinking the announcement is Tony Khan has bought Ring of Honor. What's your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, I don't really know why he would do that apart from for the tape library. Like, I said earlier in the football stream that, like, I don't know what contracts Ring of Honor have got right now, because I think a lot of the wrestlers have kind of moved on to other things. I know that, so I don't know what their contracts are like. I don't know if their contracts are frozen or if their contracts have expired or been terminated, or I genuinely don't know the situation. But if you buy Ring of Honor, I don't think you're acquiring lots of talent. You might acquire a few things. I mean, you could get rings and all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, he's already got rings and he's already got all this kind of stuff. Like, what of value do you actually want from Ring of Honor? What is it that you would actually want? And the big thing would be the tape library. So if he's got the tape library, I think that is good. That's significant. And I think that's something that would appeal. You could put out some really good documentaries. You could obviously tell like the backstory of certain wrestlers. The one thing AEW is really lacking is history. Only started in 2019. So, you go before that and it's New Japan and you can't get that tape library. So someone like CM Punk, you'd be able to get his old matches from Ring of Honor and put them, use that footage and then use the footage of when he came back. Yes, you're missing out all the WWE stuff. There's nothing you can do about that. But, I kind of think that there's that would add value, definitely, to telling a CM Punk story. Plus, also, you could go back and have CM Punk talking about his time there. Same with Bryan Danielson. You could, highlight some of the wrestlers that maybe didn't make it. There's lots of stuff. Like, you could do the top 50 Ring of Honor wrestlers, the little countdown thing. There's loads that you could do if you had that tape library. But what would you do with the actual promotion? I mean, what would you do with it? I mean, they don't need it. They don't need it. You could maybe use it as a way of bringing in new talent, but they've already got Dark and they've already got Elevation. So, like, I don't know why you would need Ring of Honor. So, if that's the announcement, it'll be like, okay, cool, right? I'd be interested to see what they did with it. But, would it be a huge announcement? I suppose. But I don't know what that does for casual fans. I mean, if you do AEW versus Ring of Honor, that is, I promise you, that has only got limited appeal, right? Because how big is Ring of Honor? Like, how many people tune into Ring of Honor each week. It's going to be drastically less than NXT and Impact. So, like, how many people do you think are really going to care about AEW versus Ring of Honor? Now, it's something that, you know, is going to get a bit of a buzz amongst hardcore wrestling fans. And certainly if you're someone that watches Ring of Honor, then you would be very interested in that. But bigger picture, limited appeal. That's not something that's going to massively change the game, as Jericho is saying, for AEW. So I think that the tape library is the real valuable item from that deal. And obviously then, you know, they say content is king at the moment because you've got so many streaming services like Disney, HBO, ESPN, Netflix, blah, 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 Discovery Plus, blah, 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 yeah? You got all of these that are crying out for content. If you've got content, then, you know, that's what people want. All of these streaming services are looking for content. So you've got to think that there's value in that tape library, definitely. But again, I don't know how he would use Ring of Honor. I mean, you know, look at WWE and WCW. Look at that as a prime, perfect example. Yeah, so WWE bought their major competitor, WCW, and look at what happened with that. They did the Invasion story, and that was it. It was done. You know, you fast forward a little bit, like you get to what, 2003, 2004, everything's moved on. I mean, it's literally like, that's it. WCW has been and gone, and it was dead. I mean, you would think that when they bought WCW, you would have, say, WWE Raw on a Monday, and then you'd have WCW on a Friday or whatever. And they did plan on having WCW as like the second show. But it didn't work out that way because, again, look at what contracts were available. The contracts that they managed to get were all the low-card wrestlers. They couldn't get Hogan, Nash, Goldberg, Sting. They couldn't get those wrestlers. And it might be the same with Ring of Honor. You know, if Tony Khan gets Ring of Honor, could he get the Briscoes? Did the Briscoes come as a part of that deal? I don't know. What's their contract situation? I genuinely don't know. Bringing Briscoes in would be good. That would be good. That would be a positive thing. People would like to see that match. I like Grisham. I'd like to see him. There's a few people that you can definitely bring in, but it's still, even with those names, goes back to the fact that it is limited appeal. You do not move from your million with those matches. You can bring the Briscoes in. You ain't going to start doing 1.3, 1.4 million because you brought the Briscoes in. So it doesn't move the ratings. It's not a needle mover. So it'll be interesting though. I mean, if it is Ring of Honor, I won't hate it. I will just be very interested to see what he does with it. Mitchell said, it's time to pick. If wrestling was a country, who are you picking for the next Olympic Games? It's time to pick. If wrestling was a country, who are you picking for the next Games? I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? If wrestling was a country? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. If wrestling was a country, who would you pick for the Olympics? Don't know what that means. Jim said Ring of Honor doesn't have any contracted talent. They were all released. Most of the main Ring of Honor talent don't have contracts. There you go then. I mean, that's, you know, very interesting. I mean, that's where we are. So for me, tape library would be the main appeal. If getting Ring of Honor just gets you, it's a similar situation to what WWE had with WCW then. So you buy WCW and you get the rings and you get the tape library and you get a few low carders and that's it. And then you have to try and cobble together an invasion angle using that. So yeah, we'll see. Again, if it's Ring of Honor, I won't mind it. It'll be interesting to see what happens. You know, he could run it as a promotion. I don't know why he would want to do that, because he surely needs to just focus on AEW. But he might run it as a promotion and use then that as a feeder into AEW, which is fine. But they've already got ways of doing that. You know, I think he's already got good relationships with the indie promotions that are out there. And obviously they got Elevation, they've got Dark, they've got the Nightmare Factory as a feeder. So this would be another feeder. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That doesn't really blow my mind, to be honest. The tape library and how he uses that tape library, that would be the interesting thing for me. Question, can anyone tell me if wrestling is worth paying for these days? Depends how much you got to pay and what you it depends, doesn't it? I mean, it depends. I think that the WWE Network is great value because you get all of the old pay-per-views and all the old shows and documentaries for like $9.99 a month. And even if you just get it once, like, you'll get $9.99 out of it. But it's like, I don't know what we're talking about. Like, are we talking about that? Are we talking about AEW? I don't know what we're talking about. If Ring of Honor invades AEW, would you want to see Ring of Honor versus AEW versus Impact? No. I don't watch Impact, and I don't watch Ring of Honor. So I know a few people from both. If they invade, I mean, that's it doesn't it doesn't do it for me, to be honest. If they invade, then it's a nice story. Maybe if I watched, definitely if I watched all three, then I would be interested. But as someone that only watches AEW out of those three, it wouldn't have any appeal. But I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing a couple of Ring of Honor people coming over to AEW. I'd like to see the Briscoes in. But honestly, once you get past the Briscoes, Grisham, Roosh, Quinn McKay, I mean, honestly, there's probably some others, but I mean, it doesn't take me too long to kind of get past that, what I think is the kind of top level. And once you start going down, I ain't got a clue then. I ain't got a clue. So I just think it would have very, very limited appeal. Very limited appeal. Ring of Honor is already invading Impact. It's not an angle that's worth watching. I like the idea of a company-wide invasion. They could call the pay-per-view brand warfare, says Big T. Well, apparently that's happening in Impact, from what I'm being told. I got back from the Liverpool game, had to walk from Anfield. How are we doing? Alex, shout out to you, buds. Chris Rogers, hello. Says, I'm going to be at AEW Revolution. Oh, have fun, dude. Moldy said, if anyone wants a laugh, check Johnny Gargano's last tweet. Ring of Honor has got a nationwide TV deal on free TV. That's valuable, even though it's shown at odd hours, says Esteban. Smitster says, my laptop is telling me to download Windows 11. I think everyone's laptop's doing that, to be honest. If all wrestling companies were one country, who would you pick for certain sports to get gold? I don't know, dude. I feel like that's a really big conversation, which with like 25 minutes to go and with a Tony Khan massive announcement, I don't know if that's the kind of conversation that we should be getting into. I mean, if people want to tackle that in the chat, then let them go for it. So, if people want to pick what wrestlers should compete for different Olympic sports, then go for it. Might be some fun answers that come through. I would put Bianca Belair in for everything. Done. Daniel said Tony is only looking at New Japan to do a super show with. John said, I've listened to Zendaya's new song and it's good. Long live Anders the Giant. Cesaro is going to go to AEW, says Jason. Jilly says, is wrestling worth paying for? I guess that means what you're looking for I've gotten every AEW pay-per-view for the last 2 years, and only one of them I felt ripped off. The infamous exploding barbed wire match. What are you hoping the announcement would be that would excite you, says Hasib? Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because I really don't know. I would need something that would affect... I need something that's going to work for me and affect me. So I think the top thing would be a super show with AEW and New Japan. Like, I've seen a bit of New Japan. I regard them as being some of the best wrestlers in the world. We know that that's where the Bucks and Omega came from, and we know that there's some dream matches that you could do. I mean, like, you know, you've got Takahashi, Switchblade, Jay White, you know. This isn't something, though, that I think is going to massively move the dial. If you look at, like, the ratings for when New Japan people have come in, they haven't gone crazy. Like, there might have been a little bump. There might have been a little, you know, lift, whatever. But the ratings haven't gone crazy. I mean, they would need to work hard to kind of get casual fans interested. Because I just don't know. I don't know how that would do, but it would work for me. I would like to see AEW versus New Japan. I don't need an invasion angle and stuff like this. I just need great matches. You know, I mean, Omega Okada they are great matches. And I'd love to see maybe a fourth, maybe them, you know, do another match, or have Takahashi coming in and taking on someone. I mean, like, I'm trying to think who would be great, like Sammy Guevara against Takahashi. That could be interesting. Zack Sabre Jr. against Bryan Danielson. Like, you could go down and, like, put together a really great card, which for me would be very exciting. And to be honest, I wouldn't really care how the ratings went. You know what I mean? Like, that, it wouldn't really bother me. If it is, what would excite you the most, I think it would be that super show. But, you know, if it turns out to be streaming or something like this, again, I don't mind. Just how does it affect me? How do I benefit? If they are going on to HBO Max, why should I care? What is it that what do I get out of it? Which it might be a really selfish way of approaching this, but I don't care, because like I want to be entertained, and if this is a huge announcement, what do I get from it? You know, there'll be people, if it is going to be Ring of Honor versus AEW, there'll be Ring of Honor fans that love it, that you know, absolutely love that news. It wouldn't do it for me. I mean, I wouldn't hate it, because I'd be interested to see, okay, where is Tony going to take this, as we've said? What's he going to do with the tape library? So I'd be interested in seeing how that plays out. But it wouldn't grab me like if he announced he was doing a super show with New Japan. That I think would probably be my favourite thing. I think that would be my favourite. Danielson against Tanahashi would be a classic. That would be great. That would be great. Danielson against Okada. Danielson against Kota Ibushi. Danielson against Takahashi. I mean, God, there's so many matches. Just Danielson against everyone. Danielson against Naito. There's so many. And then, like, you know, Bullet Club against Elite. Like, it's mouth-watering if you actually go down and go, oh, we could do this, we could do that. It would be great. It would be great. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Announcements, debuts, 20-minute matches, distraction finishes, no DQ, flips, lights off, lights on, lights off, lights on. Yes. I've got channel name on, so they're coming back. I like the message, girls. Want everyone, even you. Danielson needs to go into the G1, says Corvids. Do you think Demon versus Damien for the US title should happen? Do I think Demon versus Damien should happen? Yeah, sure. I think that's probably where it's going. Cesaro's and Briscoe's invasion. I got Amos cards, but I don't want him. Okay. Sad news, Amari got injured. Oh, that is a shame. Top 5 biggest wrestling promotions in the world. I say WWE, AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, New NWA. No. WWE, AEW, New Japan. I mean, definitely not Ring of Honor or NWA. Impact could be in there. AAA could be in there. Shimmer could be in there. Is it Shimmer or Stardom? Stardom might be worth a shout. CMLL as well in Mexico might be worth a shout. I really don't know what the numbers are like when it comes to AAA and CMLL, but I've got a feeling that AAA does fairly well. New Japan, I think, is the third. I mean, it was the second biggest New Japan in the world. It might be third now to AEW. So New Japan, WWE, number 1. AEW, New Japan. I want to say it's Stardom, is it? Stardom. Maybe Stardom. I mean, I don't know what its numbers are like. Lucha Underground's gone. I mean, that's gone bankrupt. Shut down. So it won't. It's not that. And NWA, I think, is relatively small. So yeah, a mixture of some of them. Vape Ross Vape says New Japan's US rights and AEW on HBO Max. Let's go. The rights to New Japan could be interesting. That could be interesting. I was catching up on who Jay White is. I haven't watched much New Japan. I wasn't aware of his work, so I went and watched the G1 climax of Okada Ibushi versus Jay White. I was blown away by how good he was. Doppelganger said, I watched Dynamite and Rampage only so an invasion story does not interest me. I don't follow any other shows. Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to Revolution. I'm expecting to have a great time. Minty, shout out to you. Jaden says, read my comment now. Reddit. Are you a super fan of LA Knight? No. I don't mind LA Knight. I would certainly not class myself a super fan. They said Stardom was the second most attended company last year. Is that true? Stardom's the second most attended. Is it really? I never heard that. That's very interesting. That's very, very interesting. Don't snooze on Outback Championship Wrestling. Big match this week between Dingo Snatcher and... Oh, Smitster. I wish you'd told me who Dingo Snatcher was facing. Lucha Underground is on MLW now, says Joshua. I mean, to my knowledge, it's just dead. It's just gone. I mean, they had their own venue, and I just don't think, like... I mean, Thunder Rosa used to be in Lucha Underground. She used to be someone, I can't remember, Cobra in her name. I never saw it, but I am aware that she was in it. I watched a few Stardoms on Watch Wrestling. They are really good. AEW pay-per-views, Ring of Honor tape library, special events would be huge for us in the US. They probably double the amount of people that are watching the pay-per-views if it was on HBO Max, says Always Big O. Jericho tweeted, Khan's announcement is a game changer with both words capitalized. Has he purchased GCW? He's been letting a lot of his talent work there lately, and Mox is the champion. Yeah, we touched on it. I don't know. I don't know if it's a tease just to get people talking. I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. LA Knight is cool, but Eli Drake is better. Edward, we answered. It's all about the game. Hopefully, I've got a few routers that I can change to if that ever happens, but yeah, a little bit of lag there. To be honest, you know, it happened just as I started to set up because I thought, oh, we're getting close towards AEW starting, so I better go to Fight TV. So as soon as I started up this computer, that then caused the lag. So I think this computer might have something to do with it. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's not on the same network. It's on a different network, so I wouldn't think that it would, but I think that might have been my fault. Either way, we're back. I predict AEW, ROH, and GCW is going to be mega brand streaming soon on HBO Max. Is AEW going to do pay-per-views on HBO Max? I don't know, because the announcement hasn't happened yet, so we're going to wait and see. Silver was my favorite Pride fighter. I don't want AEW to go to HBO Max. I'm already giving $200 a month to cable. I don't want to have to upgrade for HBO Max. That's fair. That's fair. If you had more time on your hands, would you tune into Stardom? No. I mean, I wouldn't mind watching Stardom, but I don't know how much appeal there would be. I don't think that would be a time problem. I think that would be more how many people would even be interested in it problem, because it wouldn't really be worth doing if it has limited appeal. Bully Ray is set to be on Steve Austin's Broken Skull sessions, says John. Will Ospreay versus anyone in AEW? He is top 3 in the world right now, says Chris. I want a hot segment from Punk and MJF tonight, said Smitster. Tony's announcement is we've got the lights fixed. Very good. Very good. Heather, hello, says, I agree with that. I wouldn't want to pay extra 15-month either. I just saw a picture of Tony Khan and the owner, some big wig of Ring of Honor at Dynamite. Vape Ross Vape says, I know a hobo named Max. He loves trains. That's breaking news from Vape Ross Vape. Do you watch any wrestling without live streaming? No. Pretty much everything I mean, I might watch the occasional little bit on YouTube if there's something that I need to watch, or if I've been sent a clip or something like that, but actually sitting down and watching like a weekly show that I watch and don't stream? No. Has anyone tried the new Coca-Cola Starlight? No, but what does it taste like? Because apparently it's meant to taste like loads of weird stuff, like a night sky and all this kind of stuff. I think they're being vague so that it forces you to go and try the actual drink to see what it tastes like. But I heard it was like a more sugary Coca-Cola or something, or tasted that way. I don't know. Have you tried it? That's my question. Days, is it weird for you to watch something and not stream like The Walking Dead? No, to be honest, because I have to make a lot of graphics, like thumbnails for the football, and set a lot of streams up. I mean, you can imagine each week I have to set up, I don't know, about 12 streams or whatever, so that's a lot of descriptions and tags and thumbnails, and there's a lot that we just get to like repeat and whatever. But by and large, like, there's always graphics that need to be made and things that need to be done, and I always tend to just have a little something on in the background. So right now I'm actually working my way through The Australian Apprentice. I've always watched The Apprentice and enjoyed it, but never really been able to sit down and just like binge it, if you know what I mean. It's always one of those shows that it's like, if it's on TV, I might watch it, but I've never really gone out my way to catch up with it. And I watched the UK one. I really enjoyed it. And I was like, oh my God, I want to watch another one. Like, what else is there? And the first thing I found was The Australian Apprentice, like a celebrity special. I am loving it. It is so good. So I'm kind of watching that at the moment. So if I'm having something to eat, I'll have that on. If I'm making some graphics, I'll have that on. But, like, you know, whatever I'm doing, I tend to just have that on at the moment. And Walking Dead, I'm up to date with it, so I just have to keep waiting each week for the new episode. The new Coke tastes like Frumuda cheese. Nice. What do you think the announcement will be? Well, I mean, look, there's a lot of talk around streaming services and Ring of Honor, so I have to think there's something in that. Days will have a knife with him when he eats, although he will never use it. That is true, actually. And do you know what? I was just wondering if I had one, because, do you know, I did start. I don't have one at the moment. I think it's because I've been eating upstairs a lot more. Like, when I was doing the Olympic streams and whatever, I'd be, like, grabbing something, having it here. But I've been eating upstairs a little bit more. But, yeah, I do always grab a knife. Always grab a knife and a fork, and I never use the knife. It's very rare do I ever need the knife. I always tend to kind of cut with the edge of my fork. It's just one of those weird things. Tony is in the ring. Oh, what? He's doing it first. Is he doing it first? Is Tony opening the show with this? Okay, then. Okay. Tony announcement. I mean, I wouldn't have done that, to be honest. I would have saved it. This is surely what everyone's waiting for. So, a little bit strange, but hey-ho. I will never get you grabbing a knife, even though you knew you wouldn't use it. Well, I think it's because you want it just in case. That's why I do it. If ever I'm about to have something to eat, I'll grab a knife and fork, grab, like, dinner, sit down, and then as I'm eating, I will always just naturally use the edge of the fork to cut through food. And there's really, like, 99% of your foods you can cut that way. Like, it's really not a problem. It's not like I'm chasing potatoes around a table or anything. Like, it's really easy. It's just I don't even think about it. But there will, you know, once in a while be something that's stubborn, and then I might need a knife, but I don't know. If it's steak, I'm going to grab a knife. I ain't cutting that with the edge of a fork. So if it's steak, then absolutely. But, I mean, cottage pie. Do you know what I mean? Well, cottage pie. You don't need a knife for a cottage pie. Honestly, I really don't know what I would need, like, a knife for most of the time. But I grab them. Bring the spife. That's all you need, mate. It's all you need. It's a spoon and a knife. Cut with the side. Scoop with the spoon bit. It's all you need. You're absolutely right. 4 minutes to go. I need a knife for mashed potato. You don't need a knife for mashed potato. Grow up. You're not 5. What's your favourite style of match? Normal match. I think that you don't need gimmicks. You don't need, like, cages and all this kind of stuff. Like, if you go back and look at, like, some of the best matches, you know, yes, there's great gimmick ones like Undertaker and Mankind, and we can sit here and go through great gimmick matches, but if you're looking at, like, Shawn against Undertaker, it's just in the ring. It's normal. If you look at CM Punk, John Cena, it's in the ring. It's normal. If you look at the Volta matches that have got a lot of praise, normal matches. Ric Flair against Ricky Steamboat. Macho Man against Ricky Steamboat. Like, you know, these kind of classic matches that are heralded largely tend to be just normal matches. So you really don't need, like, gimmicks and smoke and mirrors to have a great match. So just normal. Just normal. I'm a boomer. I've told you I'm a boomer. Vince has killed his own WCW because they had it and didn't know what to do with it, says Sil. That is true, to a degree. It kind of fell in their lap. They weren't expecting to have it, and then all of a sudden they had it, and so they didn't quite know what to do. But there was a few things that kind of went wrong, most notably being that they couldn't get the contracts of the big stars. So when they came to do the invasion angle, they were having to try and cobble something together because they didn't have Sting, they didn't have such and such. And then it became very apparent that you know, WWE fans, WCW fans weren't going to be tuning into a WWE version of WCW. Forget that. That would be like Vince buying AEW and then trying to put it on as a second show. What AEW fans do you reckon are going to tune into that? So it has limited appeal because a large part of AEW is about, you know, pushing back against WWE and being the real wrestling company. If Vince was to buy AEW, that fan base would go. That fan base wouldn't, you know, a good chunk of it, not everyone, but a good chunk of it would go because they're not, you know, look at the cheer whenever there's a knock of WWE. So, like, that was also part of the problem, was that WCW fans weren't going to tune in now that Vince owned it. And also, WWE fans saw this as the enemy brand. They've just been told for how many years, this is the enemy. Like, don't watch WCW, it's rubbish. You need to be watching us, don't watch that. So now all of a sudden going, we've got WCW. Like, how many WWE fans were going to be that excited by it? So, you know, all of that mixed in with the fact they didn't have the contracts for the big names resulted in the flipping disastrous invasion angle that we ended up getting. So there was a bit more to it than just they didn't know what to do with it. But that is true as well. They didn't know what to do with it because it kind of fell into their laps. Right, where is this stream? In 23 seconds, apparently. Here it is. I've got a black screen at the moment. That is... The announcement is that on next week's Dynamite there will be a huge announcement. Here we go. Right, I don't know if Tony is in the ring straight away. Let's have a look and see. We are at Daly's place. They said there's a big announcement to kick off the show. So, in the ring... Okay, let's see what he's got to say. The floor is yours. Here we go. Right. Tony. So he thanks us all for being here. All right. Thanks us everyone for being here. Big week. Big night. Yeah, Road to Revolution. I can't hear. Well, I can't make him out. What's he saying? Why is he shouting? Why is he shouting? Okay, so he mentions ROH. Okay, so he's bought it. There's no Shane. There's no Shane, it's me. Okay. Okay, so Bryan Danielson's coming out. So is that it? I mean, like, so he owns Ring of Honor, but there's no word about what that's going to entail. Like, what does that mean? So he owns Ring of Honor, so what does that mean? Are you going to continue it? Is it coming back? Is it going to be its own show? Is it going to be part of AEW? What are you going to do with the tape library? Like, what are we meant to do with this information? Big breaking news. Tony Khan owns Ring of Honor. So he's just started Dynamite saying, coming out, he was in the ring saying that 20 odd years ago, Ring of Honor began. He was a massive fan, and now he owns Ring of Honor. So he has actually put that out there and told everyone that he was a big fan of it, told everyone that he, was a big supporter of Ring of Honor, and then dropped the bombshell that he has brought it. Obviously, Ring of Honor did hit some hard times, and for him buying it is, massive news. Sadly, I did like the bit where he says, there's no Shane, kind of talking about when Vince bought WCW, and then Shane McMahon turned up. So I did enjoy that bit, but there's no follow-up. That is it. That is all the information. He's bought Ring of Honor. Now, that is amazing for the tape library. There's so much they can do with that. They can now put out, I would say DVDs, but documentaries. They can get documentaries out there. Not necessarily on DVD, but they can get them onto, I'm sure, using their connections, like various different platforms. It's going to be really good to kind of tell the backstory for Bryan Danielson and CM Punk and all that kind of stuff. I'm guessing if he loves it, he's going to keep the brand going. Is that going to be the new developmental for AEW? Will Ring of Honor feed into AEW? What does that mean for Dark? What does that mean for Elevation? None of this was answered by Tony. He's just dropped the bombshell that he now owns Ring of Honor, and I suppose just let people speculate now. I think some people will be pleased with that news. Some people will be maybe disappointed. I don't know. I don't know. This massive, huge announcement, it's still hard to know how it's actually going to affect anything. But that was the announcement. Ring of Honor is now owned by Tony Khan, and it will be very, very interesting to see what does he do with it. Disappointed. It's going to be more wrestlers on an overflowing roster. I don't know, to be honest, but because there's no wrestlers that are connected with Ring of Honor. We were talking about this before. We don't think there is any kind of Ring of Honor wrestlers that he's going to have the contracts of. So I don't know that does mean that you're going to see the Briscoes, to be honest. I don't think that's something that you're going to be getting. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know what it means. It's hard to know how it kind of plays out. I don't know. I'm really torn on it. I'm kind of, part of me is thinking like, okay, cool. Like, I'm interested to see what he does with it. But then part of me is thinking like, there wasn't really much there. There wasn't really much of an announcement. It's kind of like, I own Ring of Honor now. Okay, but what does that mean? What are you doing? What are you doing with it? Is it just going to be a developmental? Like, why should I care? Why do I care that he's brought Ring of Honor? What does it do for me? What do I get out of it? Let me know. I'll tell you what I might do. Tell you what I might do. I might just put in the chat what people think about it. So we'll put a thing in the chat and see if people are happy about it, sad about it. Right, let me try and get to the... Let me try and get to the chat. Where's that? There we go. Okay. Are you happy with the announcement? Yes or no? Let's get a read, shall we? Let's get a read and see what people think. Are you happy with the announcement? Yes or no? I mean, it's a great promotion. There'll be people that don't really know much about Ring of Honor, but it is a great promotion. Dude, this is negative. This is really cool. You never get all the answers at once. This is big. Just enjoy it. Negative? What does it mean? What does it mean? I mean, if Ring of Honor don't have contracts, apparently. We were talking about this before. So it doesn't mean that a load of wrestlers are about to come in. So it doesn't mean that. He's already got a wrestling promotion that's bigger than Ring of Honor. So where does Ring of Honor actually fit into things? I am disappointed. I think, like, saying I own Ring of Honor is kind of like... That's good. I'm pleased for you. Well done. But what does that do for me? What does that do for wrestling fans? What do I take from that? So, like, what? I don't know. I kind of feel like there's no like I've got a million questions and no answers. And why get excited? What is there to get excited about? I don't know what I'm meant to get excited about. I'm meant to get excited because Ring of Honor is now owned by Tony Khan. Why do I care? Like, the tape library thing, I think, is good. But, like, he hasn't announced a super show. He hasn't announced that there's going to be some kind of crazy, like, international tournament. He hasn't announced that... I don't know. He hasn't announced anything. All he said is that he owns... That's like walking out and saying, guys, I've bought Five Below. I now own Five Below. Okay. Here's Bryan Danielson. Like, okay. Cool. Thank you. I mean, I'm sure he'll look after it. And I'm sure he'll do something with it. And I'm sure, like, I don't doubt that he has got, like, affection for it. And that he'll treat it well. But right now, I just have more questions than I do answers. He's put a statement on Twitter, and it's got a bit more detail. Let's have a look at that then. I mean, I don't know why we can't put that in a speech in a ring. Let's have a look. Jesus. Moments ago on Dynamite, it was announced Tony Khan has agreed to acquire the assets of Ring of Honor from Sinclair, including the promotion's video library dating back to 2002, brand assets, intellectual property, production equipment, and more. Known widely as the independent promotion that birthed some of wrestling's biggest stars, including CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, highlighted dozens of members of the AEW roster, Ring of Honor's purchase signifies a new chapter in the future of professional wrestling as AEW's meteoric rise continues to draw the youngest skewing wrestling audience on television. Ring of Honor's influence on modern wrestling is etched permanently in the history books, and this acquisition ensures that its legacy will be kept alive and treated with the utmost respect. The deal adds thousands of hours of content to our rapidly growing library and creates new opportunities to expand our footprint on a national and global scale, whilst having the potential to produce new content under the Ring of Honor banner. I will immediately begin exploring opportunities to make Ring of Honor's video library available to fans who will have the opportunity to witness the beginnings of the careers of some of AEW's biggest stars. That is definitely the big draw. The video library is definitely what this is about. And he says that he will explore the opportunity. Let's look at that word in again. Says that he will explore the opportunity to make Ring of Honor's video library available. Create new opportunities, expand footprint, blah, 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 blah. More than 40 members of the AEW roster have appeared in Ring of Honor during their careers. The promotion launched the careers of numerous AEW superstars, including CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Hangman Page, Dr. Britt Baker, and Adam Cole. Additional members of the AEW roster have made their mark in Ring of Honor, including the late Brody Lee, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, reDRagon, Best Friends, Jay Lethal, Chris Daniels, Matt Sydal, Mercedes Martinez, blah, 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 long list. Ring of Honor has produced some of the best professional wrestling over the past 20 years. More importantly, it created a family. I will be forever grateful to everyone in Ring of Honor who has worked tirelessly in the past 2 decades to take Ring of Honor to levels, blah, 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 blah. I'm truly excited how we get it. The acquisition will be completed through an entity that is wholly owned by Tony Khan. Further details about the extent of the acquisition will be announced in the coming weeks. So it doesn't say really anything. It just says that he's purchasing it and he's going to look to use the tape library and find ways to get that content out there. Now, Mr. Chadwick was telling me that apparently this content is already out there on Ring of Honor Club. So apparently the content is already out there. So I don't know that this content has been buried away. I don't know that this has been buried away and like no one's been able to get to it. No one's been able to find it. How are we gonna, when can we watch Ring of Honor stuff? I believe this stuff has been out there already. So he's just maybe trying to get it to a bigger platform. I'm not sure. What's meant by video library? So it's all their back catalogue. So like WWE's video library is their the WrestleManias, the SummerSlams. It's basically everything that makes up their history. So, owning the Ring of Honor tape library, their video library, their history, if you will, that is good. That is good, and there's lots that you could do with it. But we don't know what that's going to be yet. I mean, it's going to make potential documentaries on wrestlers more interesting because we can go further back. There's things along those lines that you can do with it. And obviously, he's going to look to use it as an ongoing entity as well. I need to have a look and see where we are with this vote. So 65-35. So 65% of people say yes, I'm satisfied with that announcement. 35% of people say no, that announcement was a bit below par. See what Daniel's got to say. We started matches with a handshake and we ended match with a handshake. So he's going over to shake Christopher Daniels' hand. It's a bit weird him lying there. Why is he not getting up? Why is he not getting up? Why did Christopher Daniels not get up? That was a bit weird. Danielson is kicking at Daniels. If you ask me, it's a bum announcement. I thought the announcement was going to be they would stream on HBO Max. Grisham comes out with the Ring of Honor Championship, says Corvids. Okay, so Moxley is coming out. We should all pitch in so we could have owned Ring of Honor. Only 60 million. I don't think it would have cost that much. Vince paid 2 million for WCW. I don't know how much he will have. I don't know if Dave's managed to get any info. We'll have a look, see what. Let's have a look. See what Meltzer's got to say. I'm sure Sean Rossap's probably on it as well. Tony has purchased Ring of Honor as announced tonight. That's all he said. That's all Dave Meltzer has said. I really think that's a bit of a... I really think, like, announcing it at the start now, everyone's talking about this, and it's like, I never watched that first match. Ain't got a clue. And it's kind of like, I think this conversation might run over the show a little bit as well. Why do you think WWE has zero interest in requiring that video library? I don't know that they didn't. They might have tried, or Tony might have got the jump, or maybe it wasn't for sale, but Tony went up to Ring of Honor and made an offer, and they took it. So maybe WWE weren't even aware that there was an opportunity to get that tape library, or I really don't know. I would think that there would be value in it, definitely. Definitely. It reminds me of when Billy bought NWA, everyone was confused because he brought a few worthless letters. That video library is not worthless. I don't think that video library is worthless at all. And Ring of Honor has got a brand recognition amongst wrestling fans. I would have liked a bit more to have known what he's doing with it, or what his intentions are. Tony had the upper hand on Vince because he's got a good relationship with some in Ring of Honor, says Sil. Look at all the content you've got on the WWE Network. Imagine if Vince didn't own that content. What would make up his network? Wow, I mean, I don't know, because, like, why wouldn't he own his own content? I thought it was going to be bigger, says Christian. Does AEW now technically have a Hall of Fame through Ring of Honor? I mean, well, he will own the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame. But I don't think Tony Khan's going to look to use that to put in AEW people. Right. Moxley stands in the ring, and Danielson rolls out the ring. Ring of Honor paid for the production and layout for All In, which created AEW. When Ring of Honor went into financial troubles, it's classy for AEW to repay the favor. Do you know, you've just made a really good point there, because I think Ring of Honor own the rights to All In. And how important is that to the history of AEW? I think you're absolutely right. I think All In is something that Tony will have now got the rights to because of buying Ring of Honor. Yes, they do. They will induct Danielson, Samoa Joe, and CM Punk. Do you think Khan makes a good on-air character? God, no. He was shouting. I couldn't make out him at times. He did a really good job with those, you know, when he was on Impact and he was doing those little adverts and he was coming across as a bit heelish. Like, he was coming across quite good there. here, I don't know if it was like an adrenaline rush or what it was, but he seemed amped up. Seemed like he had had like 20 coffees before he went out. I was hoping that Todd Pettingale had signed. I think we all were. Wrestle with Andy, I think you're absolutely right there. I was hoping that he had going to bring back WWF Mania on a Saturday morning with Todd Pettingale. James said Ring of Honor was thriving. It was such an amazing show until the pandemic ruined it. Tony Khan is on crack. Commercial break. Are you going to see UFC 272 press conference tomorrow? Yes. It might be Sting versus Darby at Double or Nothing, says channel name. I hated those Tony Khan Impact adverts. If you could have Cody or Ring of Honor, which would you choose? If I could have Cody or Ring of Honor, like if I could own one, which one would I choose? Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor. Because I think Ring of Honor, you'd make more money off it than you would off Cody. I'm just trying to think, like, would you make more money off Cody selling his merch? Or will you make more money from Ring of Honor? It's difficult. Depends what you can sell it to the streaming services for. Because content is so important. If you could show, like, HBO or whoever, that there is an audience for this content and that they should have it, they're spending silly money at the moment for those kind of things. And, you know, we've seen, like, Lucha Underground go onto Netflix. So why would Ring of Honor not go onto somewhere like that? No problem to them, is it? To put it up and make it available to people. And, you know, it could be worth a pretty penny. So it could bring in, you know, a bit of money. I don't think what he's paid is... I mean, I don't know what he's paid. But I think that there's a good chance you can make money back with it. That is it's an important video library as well. Because it is... You know, that if you look at the list of people that were in it... Let's just go back to his thing. I'll read out... It'll take a little while, but look, more than 40 members of the roster have appeared in Ring of Honor, including CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Hangman Page, Britt Baker, Adam Cole, Brody Lee, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, reDRagon, Best Friends, Jay Lethal, Christopher Daniels, Matt Sydal, Mercedes Martinez, Serena Deeb, Frankie Kazarian, Scorpio Sky, Keith Lee, Eddie Kingston, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, QT Marshall, Danhausen, Lance Archer, Griff Garrison, Thunder Rosa, Wheeler Yuta, Luchasaurus, Orange Cassidy, Ethan Page, Austin Gunn, Pac, Kip Sabian, John Moxley, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, Jerry Lynn, BJ Whitmire, and Sanjay Dutt. And, you know, you can add some incredible names to that with the likes of Samoa Joe and Nigel McGuinness. Like, those are just the AEW names that have been appeared in Ring of Honor. But, I mean, you just would have liked a bit more in the announcement. I would have liked a bit more clarity as to just, you know, what is he looking to do with it. I think he doesn't quite know himself at the moment. I think he loves Ring of Honor, and I think he's bought it. And I think he's still trying to work out what he wants to do with it, and he doesn't really want to say because he doesn't quite know. Did anyone mention Ring of Honor streaming service? Wow. I don't think that's where it's at, to be honest. Has Ring of Honor got its own streaming service? Because I don't think that's where it's at. The money, right? Look at WWE. They had their own streaming service and they abandoned it because the money is going to Peacock or going to HBO Max or going to one of those places. Like, if they can get Ring of Honor onto a Netflix, onto a Peacock, that is much better than if Ring of Honor have got their own streaming platform, because WWE did it. They were market leaders in it. They created the WWE network and then abandoned it. It still sort of lives on, on Peacock, but the billion they got from Peacock for 10 years is way, way more profitable than what they were making when they were just a streaming service. So I think that buying Ring of Honor for the tape library makes sense. All the other stuff he doesn't need. I think he is a fan of Ring of Honor. I think he might look to keep Ring of Honor going in some way, and maybe use it as a feeder. And then I think it'll be used for fleshing out documentaries and things along those lines. And I think that is basically what the announcement is. Do you see Cody running Ring of Honor? No. Ring of Honor and Honor Club. If Tony Khan bought them, they do have one now to start with. This is interesting. It's like a Royal Rumble. This is the Tag Team Casino Battle Royale. Tag Team Casino Battle Royale. If you were Tony Khan, what would you do with it? Well, first I would try and sell those the tape library to Netflix or to Disney Plus or ESPN or HBO Max, or I would go around having meetings, seeing if anyone was interested in buying it. If you start going down the list of people that have got matches, I mean, you can say, look, people that are into WWE, people that are into wrestling, they are going to want to see this content. It's been behind a paywall. Now you can get it out there and people will want to see this. It's got value, blah, 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 blah. Go through how many hours, how many events, some of the wrestlers involved, get some numbers and see if you can, what interest there is. That to me would be a starting point, because if they buy that, then that is, you're making some serious money. Like, that is where the money is. Then, in regards to Ring of Honor, I would probably be interested in having that run as a show and just being a great platform for, maybe the up-and-coming talent. Maybe Ring of Honor feeds into AEW, and then maybe I look to see, what TV company could you do? Could you rebrand AEW Rampage to Ring of Honor? Would that be a good move? I mean, AEW is the brand that's got value, so I don't know if you'd want to do that. I mean, if you call Rampage Ring of Honor, I don't like, people aren't going to associate that with AEW, and you're not going to want to call it AEW ROH or AEW Ring of Honor. So I don't think you can rebrand anything. I don't think you could get it onto TV. You could rebrand the YouTube thing, AEW Dark could now be Ring of Honor. You could do that. I don't know if that's very exciting, but you could do that. You could rebrand AEW Dark and AEW Elevation. Rebrand that to Ring of Honor. And then maybe show it on there. I think it is on TV, but I don't think it's a very good TV deal. But I think that he loves what Ring of Honor stands for, and that is finding the best talent and, putting it on and giving them a platform. But he's doing that with AEW already. That's what AEW is. So he's going to have to maybe use Ring of Honor for the next layer down, because basically he wants AEW to be what Ring of Honor was. He's going to want AEW to be doing what Ring of Honor were doing back in the day. So I would imagine that he will look to use Ring of Honor as a feeder. Or if he now needs a second show. But again, if he needs a second show, why would he use the Ring of Honor name? You would use AEW. You would use AEW. Why would you want to use the Ring of Honor name to be your second show? Unless you can build that up and then get, two brands on the go. But I don't know, it's definitely got pitfalls to it. All of a sudden it's getting a bit bloated, a bit confusing. How does that fit into that? You buy it for the tape library. You worry about everything else after. AEW's Ring of Honor. Maybe you could do that for Rampage. AEW's Ring of Honor. AEW's Ring of Honor. AEW Dynamite and AEW's Ring of Honor. Just ain't going to change anything. No, that's the only thing. What's it going to change? It's still going to do the same arenas. Even if you was to do that, you're just going to have the Ring of Honor logo shown than the AEW one. But you wouldn't. You'd have to use both. Messy. Tell me who made All In happen. Tell you who made All In happen. Well, it started because of that tweet from Dave, didn't it? Some dude tweeted Dave asking about could Ring of Honor sell out 10,000 seats. Dave said not anytime soon, and Cody said I'll take that bet. So Cody put on an indie show with the Bucks and Kenny Omega and sold out 10,000 seats. But in order to do it, they did have Ring of Honor involved, which is why Ring of Honor, I believe, owned the rights to All In. And so Tony has now got the rights to All In, which is a very important part in the history of AEW. Ring of Honor funded the arena production and layout of All In. AEW needs a brand split, and Ring of Honor could be their NXT. Ring of Honor, new world champion. Bryan Danielson versus AEW world champion. How good would that look? I feel like Dark Elevation becomes AEW's Ring of Honor and is basically developmental. Ring of Honor wasn't just involved in All In, it was a Ring of Honor show, says Corvids. What's the announcement? Tony now owns Ring of Honor. AEW presents Ring of Honor, says Peter. Jonathan Gresham is the Ring of Honor champion. Chop coming in. Can Tony make money off action figures, video games with guys like AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins? No. Not unless you could... No, because you don't have their contracts. You only have what they were in the past. You only have the... You can't make money off action figures and stuff like this, but you could make money off Ring of Honor t-shirts. I just don't know that you can put wrestlers on that aren't under contract anymore. They would have to be under a contract now, but I can't see any reason why you couldn't. Could you put the poster to a show on a t-shirt even if AJ Styles was on it? Or if, like, you know, someone was on it that you don't have? That's an interesting question. That's an interesting question. And if they operated under a different name, like Sami Zayn was El Generico, I don't know who owns that. I would imagine not Ring of Honor, to be honest. I would imagine Ring of Honor probably... I don't know what trademarks they would own. No. I think they've got the tape library, and I think you could put a Ring of Honor logo onto a t-shirt. They've obviously got all of the various... They've obviously got all the various pay-per-view shows as well. Like, you could maybe put them onto shirts, but couldn't be making action figures of AJ Styles. Not unless he was going under a different name. It's interesting. You could, but Vince wouldn't let it fly. You can do that. He was there at the time of the event. And being on the poster. Robert, shout out to you. Don't most Ring of Honor workers own their own indie gimmicks? You'd presumably have to deal with them, and they wouldn't be able to. Against the rope. So we're well underway with this. One of the Bear Country guys has been eliminated. It's a very, very interesting question. I'll tell you why it's an interesting question, because there is a company called, I can't remember what they're called, something toy company. Something toy company. Let me have a look. There's a company that made Ring of Honor figures. Oh my God. I think that might be me searching for something. No, I'm not going to bother messing around. I think it gives me a bit of lag. There was some action figures that were Ring of Honor action figures that had like AJ Styles and all this kind of stuff, but I don't know quite where we got with those. Action figure ROH. These things. This kind of like rising star thing of AJ Styles. That I think was I can't quite remember when that came out. 2016. 2016. I mean, that is when he was just going, so, and I haven't seen anything since he joined WWE. That's, I'd have to think that they only managed to get that out because they were maybe working on it and it was already too late in the process, so it came out just as he joined WWE. Because I remember that coming out around the time he had joined WWE, but I have not seen one since. So, you know, Mattel would shut that down and WWE would shut that down. So, no, I really don't think there's any action figure opportunities. We had this match last week, didn't we? We did have a Battle Royal. I seem to remember there being a tag team Battle Royal. That company still exists, says Heather. Should they re-establish Ring of Honor as a major brand? Would someone like CM Punk be enough to do it? I mean, if Tony says, right, I'm going to have AEW and I'm going to have Ring of Honor, and they're going to be my two brands, and I'm going to move the ex-Ring of Honor guys back to Ring of Honor, I mean, that would be interesting. Like, you know, you've got Raw and SmackDown. AEW's got AEW and Ring of Honor, and they battle against each other, and both shows had different feels. That would be very interesting. My question would be, where's this second show come from? What time slot is it? Right? Because Rampage at 10 o'clock at night for an hour is not a great time slot, as we know. Dynamite on Wednesday does well. So I don't know if he can negotiate a second show. But I mean that's a huge announcement all on its own. That wouldn't have anything to do with Ring of Honor, really. That would just be we've managed to negotiate a second 2-hour time slot, which would be huge. So without that, where are you going to put it? But if your other problem then would be you'd have to start building up the Ring of Honor brand. I mean, you might be able to do it quite quickly because obviously you'd use AEW's TV to promote it. You'd move big stars over like Danielson and CM Punk. So, you know, you might be able to do it, but it would take time. It would take time because they've spent like 2 years building up AEW, and all of a sudden now you're building up ROH. And I think if you call it AEW Ring of Honor or AEW's Ring of Honor, how is that then any different to AEW Dynamite? Would it be Ring of Honor versus Dynamite? Like SmackDown versus Raw? One show's called Dynamite, the other show's called Ring of Honor. Again, this conversation's irrelevant unless they get another good time slot that you could use Ring of Honor in. If you use it in that kind of 1 hour, 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock thing, we know that's not a great time slot. And you ain't going to you're not going to have a brand split and just leave CM Punk, Bryan Danielson competing in that time slot. So they really need another TV slot. You know, they really need another TV slot to have another show. It's interesting, though. Your Just Fantasy booking, they never said they'd integrate Ring of Honor. Tony Khan bought it to preserve its legacy, according to the press release. There's no need to read more into it than that. No, there's no need to, but it's fun to talk about what they could potentially look to do and just throw a few ideas around. It's not hurting anyone. That would be great. I like that idea. Give it Rampage slot. Make it 2 hours. Remember ECW at 11 in the 90s felt like they snuck on TV late at night and did what they wanted, says Stupid Steve. I mean, yeah, maybe if you could... I don't know what... I mean, I agree that it worked with ECW. Would it work with Ring of Honor? Because at the moment, the Rampage numbers are not that encouraging. If you rebrand it to Ring of Honor, you know, would it be any different? Would it be any better? It's an interesting conversation. There's a lot of people in the ring at the moment. A lot of people, I don't know if we're at commercial break, picture in picture, but there's a lot of people just like lying down. The Bucks are in there. Ring of Honor's time slots are on Sinclair. It's likely if Ring of Honor is not a Sinclair problem, the TV show will be gone, says Whacked Out Wrestling Podcast. Austin said, this match kind of bores me. Corvid said, it's fun to talk about, but people shouldn't be taking themselves into disappointment because they can't figure out what might happen with the brand. Arcade probably doesn't even know yet. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I agree. Definitely treat it as just, you know, speculation and, you know, just kind of like, you know, what could they do? And could they do this? Yes. Could they do that? Well, no, because of this. Like, it is true. The likelihood is he'll keep the show going in its kind of current guise. You know, he'll make sure they've got the money to keep doing what they're doing. He'll use it as a feeder, but it won't really interfere with anything too much. But if there's someone that's doing well, they'll look to bring them into AEW. And he'll use that tape library and sell it and make money from it and use it for documentaries. And I mean, I can see that as a minimum, to be honest. I can see that. And then, you know, who knows if they do get a second time slot, then maybe they could look to do something more with it. I don't know, to be honest, that Vince will be too concerned about this news. I think what he will be a bit annoyed about, though, is the fact that he now would have to deal with Tony to get that kind of back catalogue if he ever did want it. I'll be very interested to know if they even tried for it. Right, here comes Brock Anderson making his way down. Rob said, this is a boring first hour, maybe because the match seems predictable for the Young Bucks. How many teams are in this? Is it like 15 teams, they said before? James said, as long as they keep the code of honor and the pure rules, then I'll be happy. The Bucks are going to win this, says Jeremy. All right, lots of people are down. 10 goes to the outside. Legend Killer, shout out to you. Dave Meltzer reported the Ring of Honor video library has been available to buy for over a year. He said the highest bidder would get it, but WWE wasn't interested. Wow. No, I'm very surprised. Very, very surprised. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know. How much were they asking for it? I mean, Vince has got tons of experience of, you know, selling and putting out ECW, putting out WCW. Like, how did they not think that the ROH video library would be worth bothering with? I am surprised at that. I'm surprised WWE weren't interested. Right. 2.0 making their way down. So we got 2.0. We are at Daly's place. Kicks coming in. 20% off sale from Shop AEW. What is the point of Danhausen? I like the guy, but why just have him out there doing nothing, says Jason. I can't have him doing it. I think he's still injured, I think, at the moment. So I think Danhausen is just can't really do a great deal. I'm surprised they don't give him a talk show segment, to be honest. Danhausen's very evil talk show. I think that could be a really fun, like, regular segment on Dynamite. I say you show me. I still don't think he is completely cleared yet. Yeah, I'm just looking at the chat in this, and people are not feeling it, to be honest. People are seemingly struggling a little bit with it. Because Danhausen is still not fully recovered. So, well, we've got plenty of teams still battling away. Over the top. Spills to the outside. Got Bucks in there with Dax. Bucks off the ropes. Clothesline, and Dax goes over the top rope. I think we've got about, what, 3 or 4 teams left? reDRagon. Super kick. Dax goes out the ring. reDRagon. Okay, so we got Bucks and we've got Darius says he's going to get Darius going to get time to shine now. Ugh. Darius against the ropes. He's having to compete against both of the Bucks at the moment. FTR allowed. I don't like FTR. My guess, from a business standpoint, the value is the library. Gives him leverage in future streaming negotiations. Question, AEW struggles to get their own start TV time. If Ring of Honor gets their own branded show, how does that help AEW? Your thoughts? Well, AEW, Ring of Honor don't have contracts. That's what was, we were discussing before. So Tony Khan has bought Ring of Honor, but that doesn't mean that he's now got a load of extra wrestlers. It means that he's got like rings, and he's got the name, and he's got the brand, and he's got the tape library, and things along those lines. So he can use that to actually split some of the AEW roster up if he wanted to. If he wanted to go that way. So this isn't going to be a massive influx of new talent now. Matthew said, who would win, Cora and Raquel or Dakota and Wendy? I don't know, dude. It depends who they want to push. Talk shows are cliche, but that would probably work for him. We've got Darius and we've got Matt Jackson, low blow on the edge of the ring. Goes down to one knee, kick. He goes out, and the Bucks have won it. So the Bucks have won. Bucks win. Nah. I have a new one. Top 5 best wrestling promotions. WWE, Impact, Ring of Honor, AEW, NWA. Here's Jurassic Express. Bucks win. reDRagon versus Bucks will happen. Some contracts run out in April. Some run out in December. Some run out later in the year. But Ring of Honor does have contracts. I honestly don't know. I don't think they own big contracts. I don't even know what contracts they would have. So, I don't know. I think Ring of Honor contracts. Let's see if there is any information on it. It certainly doesn't say from that press release that Tony has acquired any talent. It says that moments ago on AEW Dynamite, it was announced that Tony Khan has agreed to acquire the assets of Ring of Honor from Sinclair Broadcast Group, including the promotion's extensive video library, brand assets. I suppose is a brand asset a wrestler? Intellectual property, production equipment, and more. Would you say wrestlers are and more? I don't know. I'm not expecting a big influx of Ring of Honor talent, to be honest. Good to see Top Flight back. Why does everyone hate the Young Bucks, says Bonkers. Jason said, I thought Ring of Honor was dead. No, it was meant to come back for a show, wasn't it, in April? And so it wasn't dead, but it was certainly on hiatus. They struggled during the pandemic. So they kind of released a load of people, and it was kind of on hiatus. But seemingly, if reports are true, then it seems like the tape library and maybe Ring of Honor itself has been available to purchase for a while. So Tony, though, is someone that grew up watching it, was a fan of it, and, I think probably has been interested in purchasing it for a while then. And as we say, there is value in that tape library. The champions are assets. The reason why he bought it is because you have to own your own history, says Serge. Brand assets are wrestlers, says Dave Sentyer. Young Bucks are awesome, but do they need to be in the title picture each time, says Bonkers. Dave, since Peacock has pay-per-views on a Saturday, Ring of Honor, Rampage on a 3-hour show on Sunday. Don't know what that means. I would take Tony buying Ring of Honor over Vince, and I think the wrestlers do too, says Luke. Yeah. I mean, if Vince owned it, then he would have the rights. Here we go. Oh, I thought he was going to talk about Ring of Honor. Not a fan of the Young Bucks. Are you doing an update on Amari after her injury? I don't have one. I don't know if they've announced one, to be honest. Amari, NXT. Let's have a look. We've got Jericho backstage. Suffered a concussion. So, that was 7 hours ago. Suffered a concussion in her match against Lash Legend. Bucks are the best team in the world. Yeah, right. Not even the best team in AEW, says James. Austin said, Jericho and Eddie is hard to call. I can see it going both ways. Brennan said Scott Hall has gone into hospital with a broken hip. Days, that's his name, Jay Briscoe. Is he still in Ring of Honor? So they're the Briscoes, aren't they, as a tag team? And, I mean, we don't quite know what the assets are that he's acquired. I can only go by what that press release is. I would have to think that if he had acquired talent, he would use the word talent. I really don't look at brand assets as wrestlers. I mean, you have to just read into it what you read into it. For me, talent is the word you would use if you'd acquired talent, if you'd acquired wrestlers. But we're finding this out together at the same time, so I can only go off the press release that he's issued. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I mean, I don't know if the Briscoes are under contract or not. I don't know if they've even revealed that. They could have sent a message out saying that they are free now. We will find out. Dave did say that WWE would have scooped it up by now, but they weren't in the business of acquiring video libraries and other assets. It seems like Tony got an easy get. I find it stunning. I can't get my head around it, why WWE didn't do that. Perhaps if they had their own network, then they would have been interested in it. But since now they've come to realise that there's more money in selling to Peacock, they don't. I mean, what do they need it for right now? I suppose, but that's short term, isn't it? If you think more long term, it's got to be a value. Right, we've got CM Punk. When did Jericho have the backs of Santana and Ortiz? CM Punk just realizing he's the bad guy, says to heel. I'm the bad guy. Do 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 do. That's what it makes me think. Okay. Who knows why WWE does or doesn't do things? CM Punk says there's a picture of me with Steve Austin. I love Billie Eilish. What was Amari doing after she got injured? I don't know. I don't know. Went to a restaurant, had something to eat, had a chat with her parents. I don't know. I can see Tony getting it over WWE, as Tony may have overpaid, especially if he was a fan. WWE might have gone with just numbers, whereas Tony would have paid a bit extra. Maybe. Maybe. It's very quiet. I think maybe people are just being attentive to CM Punk here. What do you get from a pampered cow? Spoiled milk. I want a picture with Steve Austin's barber, says William. She was stretchered out, says Jaden. Cool. She had concussion. She sent it. She said on Twitter she was concussed. She's fine. She's fine. She had a concussion. I mean, she's going to have to maybe sit out for a little week and get go through the protocol and everything. So you might not see her for a few weeks, but she was concussion. John said maybe Vince was too busy playing with his egg and his pencil. Let him in, says I'm so into this. Can't overpay for something you love, said Vape Ross Vape. They should have done Punk versus Stone Cold, Jersgo, says Jason. MJF comes out. What's the difference between a poorly dressed man on a unicycle and a well-dressed man on a bicycle? Attire. CM Punk and MJF face-to-face in the ring. CM Punk says that he used to be just like MJF. He poured alcohol down a non-alcoholic's throat. I mocked a wrestler's addiction until he lost his job. Have you got any new cards? I just added a Jericho autograph. No. I must admit, I've during like the pandemic and everything, I mean, we kind of ramped up the streaming a little bit, and so just wasn't really kind of looking at those kinds of things. So, no, I haven't. It's probably, I mean, there's definitely some I need to get, but I've not even looked, to be honest. But that's cool, adding a Jericho. This is boring, says Kun. This feels more like the main event if it wouldn't be Britt Rosa, says Austin. I'm not sure Days will like that. Oh, what? The crowd is cold, says Joel. MJF is a once-in-a-generational talent. WWE will throw money at him in 2024. I sense a low blow coming, says David. Jaden, why are you so fixated on Amari? Hit him with a chair already, said Lister Jericho. MJF hugs CM Punk. This is so goddamn stupid. This is so stupid. Last week was stupid. This is stupid. So stupid. Low blows him. Low blow. So he takes his shirt off and he's got a t-shirt on that's got the picture of MJF meeting CM Punk. Is it? Here's the ring. The dog collar's been brought down. People love MJ's promo, and I was one of them. It was, honestly, it was rubbish. It was rubbish. It doesn't make it. It's rubbish. He didn't like his delivery on it was so poor, and like he was trying to come across as emotional. I wasn't buying it. This whole story that's been dropped in the middle, where he's now saying that, you know, he believed like in CM Punk and he loves CM Punk and all of this. It's like it's coming after he's been an absolute douche to him. Like he's been like, you know, they've been feuding for a while. So like him trying to play this card now is just why? Where's this come from? What's this rubbish? This was, the crowd were quiet. This was boring. CM Punk comes out. He then starts hugging MJF. Like, there's so many ways you could have taken this feud. It didn't need all that nonsense. Blood coming down the face of CM Punk. Was there anyone that didn't see that coming, says Paul. Jilly said, Days is critical of AEW, but lets WWE slide. Jilly, you must be new to these streams. That's all I can say. Does the show feel like it's taken a dip in interest or quality? Listen, I think it was a big problem starting with the Ring of Honor thing, because that has kind of dominated the first hour. I also think this little twists and turns in this thing just wasn't needed. Super predictable that like MJF was not being genuine and that it was all gonna go like this way. They're turning up the brutality now, and they've got like blood coming down the face of CM Punk, but it ain't doing it for me. It ain't doing it for me. I was really into this story as well. I love the dog collar. I love the reveal of the dog collar. I love that match. I think like they had a match and then they needed to up the intensity, and so the dog collar was great. But it's another example for me of AEW just going like a step too far. Rather than like CM Punk just showing like the dog collar and doing that, they have to then go a little bit further and start bringing in like the fact that he loved him and like he can't believe now they're fighting and all of this kind of nonsense. It's kind of like this far into a feud. Like, this is the kind of thing that wouldn't you do at the start of the feud? Like, but instead it came like really like this far. I don't know. Like all of this stuff, I just think was silly. And then like the turn there, which was super predictable. Yeah, it's not a fan of it. It's not for me. And but I do like CM Punk. I do like MJF, and I am looking forward to the dog collar match. But the build, I just think, has been really disappointing for this. 14 minutes in then. Get in your halftime scores. I know we're 14 minutes late, but we do tend to be because there's no way of doing the halftime scores at halftime. You think MJF loses on Sunday, he would leave AEW and go to WWE? No, he's under contract till, was it 2024? James said AEW can't do anything wrong in people's eyes. There's some people that are so into it they can't be critical of it. There's stuff that AEW do that I really like. I mean, if I like it, I'll say I like it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. I think the CM Punk thing, as I said, has been good, and dog collar thing was great. But the MJF promo last week I thought was rubbish. You don't understand good storytelling. I mean, what a stupid comment. I've only been watching wrestling since the 90s. This show might be Dynamite, but week after week they don't seem to light the fuse. I think that they are. I think they are not trying to really light much of a fuse at this stage because it's the go home. But what they did there was just try to put the finishing touches to it. So just tried to show that they're not on the same page. There's not going to be a coming together. They're definitely having the match. And in order to do that this close to the actual show, you need to, go a bit extreme. And so that's why they've turned up the bloods. And that's why they've turned up the brutality, because there's no time to do anything else at this stage. So, it needs to be a brutal beatdown because, we're literally, next stop is Revolution. So we were so close to Revolution, there's not enough time to do anything else. Vape Ross Vape said, did anyone mention Ring of Honor's streaming service? Oh, we read that one. Let's go down. I think there was a super chat that just came in, was there? Yeah. Joaquin said, at least we can say this is better than Raw. Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, this notion that we only criticize AEW is ludicrous to me, because if you watched the Raw stream, I mean, I don't know how much more you want me to lay into that show. I mean, that was, for the largest part, I thought we were going to be at around about a 3. The final half an hour had some stuff which took the score up to about a 5.5. So, I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. Give me Keith Lee versus Shane Taylor, says James. Moldy said, AEW do many things wrong, but I think we dwell too much on the negatives and overlook positives. It's almost quite depressing. That is just my opinion. I'm glad you guys watch this so that I don't have to, says Paul. Saying this is better than Raw is not much of a compliment, says Aaron. Rock said, what was the big announcement? What was the big announcement? Big announcement was Tony has bought Ring of Honor. No worries, Jilly. Let him in said, would you have preferred it if MJF had been serious and not pretending? Yeah, I just think that for me, last week, his delivery on it, I didn't buy it at all. So, I don't understand how he can act as a heel, and he can be a heel, and he can, do all this heelish stuff and attack people and be the, guy that he is. And then he tries to, do a story where he's trying to make out that, he met CM Punk and it meant a lot to him, and he can't believe that CM Punk now is treating him this way. For me, like, I mean, that if I'm CM Punk, I'm sorry, you've been an absolute douche. There's been like so much that you've done that, you know, we're in a feud, and, you know, you've attacked me and interfered in matches, and I've been attacked by people in your group and all of this, and now you're trying to play like this card. For me, it was like, I didn't think the promo was that great. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the swerve. I didn't think it worked. It just didn't do it for me. It just really didn't do it for me. There's quite a few levels that I just kind of thought just didn't really do it. But the overall feud, I think, has largely been good. I mean, there's been some incredible promos. What was that one where, like, they were going back and forth and CM Punk said, "You're just like some Miz, an undervalued Miz, or an like, you know, not even an underrated Miz or something." And, like, you know, they were kind of firing shots back and forth at each other. That might be one of the best promos I've ever seen. Was like CM Punk kind of firing back at the Miz, He is like the Miz, firing back at MJF. Like, I mean, that was brilliant. For me to go from like that to kind of where it went, it really lost its way. But I appreciate that's not the same for everyone. There's people that did enjoy it, and doesn't change my excitement for the actual dog collar match itself. So. Right, Thunder and Martinez against Britt and Jamie. How long we got? 40 minutes to go. Trios match still to come. There was something interesting from Tony on the conference call. So he did a Revolution conference call, and he was talking about the fact that he is interested in potentially Cesaro and interested in maybe Jeff Hardy. But he said that he's not interested in a trios titles, not until Kenny comes back. So he's not ruling that out. I know there's people that are interested in him bringing in like a trios championship. But he's not ruling that out, but he isn't interested in doing it just yet. But I think a trios championship would be quite good. Loved it because it changes stuff up, says Tahil. Are you enjoying the show? To be honest, I'm not going to be able to rate this show because the first hour, I think, was so dominated by that Ring of Honor news. It's only really been like the ending of things that I've really been catching. And then, I mean, that CM Punk thing, which, again, you know, kind of sparked that conversation. And now here we are with this match. So I'm not going to be in a position to really rate it. I mean, the Ring of Honor news really, I think, would have been better to have dropped later in the show because it's just kind of dominated conversation. And I should imagine that people are, like, having conversations about it on social media, and this show is kind of getting a bit of a passing glance as well. I don't know. I just don't know why you wouldn't wait a little bit later to drop that news. Maybe it's because they're hoping that they can get the news out there and then, right, that's done. Here's the show. Perhaps they're thinking that it'll do that. But for me personally, and I think for quite a few people in the chat as well, it meant that the first hour was largely just dominated with the Ring of Honor news and what does this mean and do we like it? What does it mean? How can they apply it? What can you use the video library for? And there were some really good points that came out of it, like can you make figures from it? And it's like, no, I don't believe you can. But then that got me thinking about that toy company, and they did. But then, I don't know. I don't know if it was just as AJ was joining, and then thinking about it, I haven't seen any made since. So, like, there's some interesting stuff to ponder. And, of course, all the talent contracts. You know, there's been a big conversation about what talent contracts do they have. And the answer is, I mean, I don't know, but I know that there's a good chunk that have definitely gone because of that Quinn McKay is in NXT. So I know that there's some big ones that aren't there, but so yeah, that's kind of dominated the start of the show. Primo said, I feel like Tony Khan has announced it too soon, and now there is any further hype remaining, they should learn how to keep people tuned in. Would you want to see Tony make Ring of Honor its own show or combine them? I definitely don't want Ring of Honor to go away. I think Ring of Honor serves a great purpose, even in the current landscape where you've got NXT and AEW. I think Ring of Honor can still serve a purpose. For me, Ring of Honor is like King of the Indies. So I kind of think like that could still hold that position as being like, you know, a real wrestling-focused company that's King of the Indies. And I think that, you could still make that work. I don't know how he's going to position it. I don't know if he's going to keep it as King of the Indies or if he'll use the name and rebrand like the second show. Big slap by Thunder Rosa. Channel name says MJF is funny looking. So it makes it hilarious. I hated the announcement, but on reflection, as long as it's alive and well, then I'm good with it. Gary said, I've not seen House of Black advertised for Revolution. Do you think they show up in the trios match? Don't know, throw it out there, see what people think. Do people think that House of Black... I mean, it is a bit surprising. House of Black not on the card at all. Thunder Rosa going for a pin. AEW Revolution. Revolution. I mean, I believe you. I'm just having a look. I'm just trying to see if there's anywhere they could get involved to, like, kind of come down. What if they make their presence felt with whoever wins the tag team titles? So whoever wins, like, could it be that the House of Black come out and make their presence felt there? It is surprising they're not on the card. Thunder Rosa gets the pin here, the victory here. Why would they have Britt getting pinned, says Taboy. Tony will bring them into the trios title so Kenny and Bucks can win them. This was the best part of the show, says Lance. Is Jade Cargill and Ty Conti. Should have had Thunder Pinner at the pay-per-view. Might do. Don't know. I know. I think Tony has got to know that if they lose on a go-home, fans will think they will win at the show, or if they win on the go-home, they will lose at the show. So, you know, Thunder Rosa has just won there. So your natural reaction would be she ain't going to win at the pay-per-view. Tony surely knows that. And might want to play with that. So it'll be interesting to see if she does win. Because I think certain wrestling fans might look at it and think, well, she's just won there. So she ain't going to win at the pay-per-view. One is sports entertainment, one is wrestling. Tony bought Ring of Honor, Vince bought Logan Paul. Vince has to answer to stockholders, Tony has to answer to fans. Wrestling is the sport that fans care about. Ratings. Wrestling is the sport that fans care about. Ratings. Wrestling is the sport fans care about. Ratings. Right, picture in picture, and we've got these cards. Give fans a difference. Wrestlers a reason to watch each week. Your wrestler could win. I mean, there is must-see TV. WWE should do a ladder match for tag team titles at WrestleMania, says John. There's no way Rosa's going to win, says Alexis. Rosa is winning, says Jeremy. Okay, we got half an hour to go. Inner Circle didn't fight my battles. I did, says Sammy. Which is why I respect you, Darby Allin. You did it the same way. Every fight with you has been fair. So he's sending a message to Darby Allin. This Sunday, it will be an honor to fight alongside you and an icon. Sting. Camille is back on Twitter. I didn't know she'd left, to be honest, bud. It makes sense for long-term storytelling to have Britt retain since Rosa won their first match. When did Sammy become the TNT Tag Team Champion? Very good. Very good. Right, we've got Darby, we've got Sammy, we've got Andrade. And we've got Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander talking to Layla Hirsch. It literally, honestly, it only feels like now that we're moving past the Ring of Honor news. Or I'm moving past it. Just because, like, for that first hour, we were getting so many questions on it. That and so many, like, what does this mean? What does that mean? What if they do this? What if they do that? It kind of feels like that last match is really the first match that we've been able to, like, you know, keep an eye on and actually see, like, where it's going. I mean, it didn't mean anything because it was just building towards, you know, the Britt Baker Thunder Rosa thing, but... Right, we've got Wardlow coming down. I like Wardlow. He is going to turn at some point, and when that happens, it will be a lot of fun. Right, Wardlow. I don't know who's he facing. Is it another... Sometimes it's not jobbers. All right. It's big, isn't he? So, he's not got a height advantage here. I wonder what the thinking is to this. to show that he can beat up not just like little guys, but guys his own size. First powerbomb. Powerbomb. Big news, so understandable, says Joel. Yeah, I mean, look, he's just repeatedly doing it. Part of the Wingmen. I think, didn't he used to be in WWE? I seem to recall that he was in NXT. And he's got a good size to him, but just never seems to get anywhere. Wardlow is stopping Shawn Spears from using the chair here. Could this be some of significance? Wardlow takes the chair away from Shawn Spears. Wardlow stepping up to Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears thinking about the right way forward. Okay. Wardlow standing up to Shawn Spears there and preventing him from using the chair is definitely some development, so that's welcome. I love Wardlow, says James. Bonanis deserves much better. It's good to see him on Dynamite. Is AEW a company that will be around for 10 years, or is there a chance that Shad Khan could pull the plug if it doesn't make a profit? To be honest, I think this is like Tony's project, isn't it? So I think Tony does have his own money, and I would imagine this is something that Shad Khan is not going to be bothered by, to be honest. I mean, it's probably, cost a fair bit to put together, but we ain't talking like, I can't imagine like Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know how much they're worth, but I'm guessing it's in the billions. They are in the NFL. I know like some people might joke it's about, $1.50, but I'm guessing they're, considerable amount of money. Fulham is going to be a considerable amount of money. I don't know that this is, I reckon this is something that Shad Khan will be like, do you know what I mean? And I think, like, Tony might even have been dealing with this with his own money, in all fairness. This is like a passion of love, isn't it, really? So, no, I think that's all right. But even Tony is going to want to get money out of it. I mean, Tony won't bankroll this at a loss. A big loss, anyway. He might take a loss each year. If it's just like, I don't know, $1 million, it's losing $1 million each year, he might be able to just swallow that. And the amount of enjoyment that he gets out of it for $1 million a year might be fine for him. When all's said and done, each year he loses $1 million. I think he'll keep it going. Like, that's not a problem. But it depends how big the losses are going to be. And who knows? I mean, it might not be a loss. I think it is a loss right now, but eventually, if they can get onto like streaming services and blah blah blah, all of that, then it could start turning a profit, and happy days. So, do I expect it to be around in 10 years? Yes, I do. I can't really see any reason why it won't, because even if TBS, TNT don't want it, I'm sure you'll find another network. And as I said, content is king right now. You've got a fan base that's there, that's, passionate about AEW. So you can literally take this and drop it onto Netflix, and that fan base will follow it there. And Netflix will know that, and so will Disney, so will ESPN, so will HBO, so will all of these streaming platforms. The exclusive home of AEW has got to be worth something like considerable. I'd have to think that You know, when they started, obviously it was a gamble. But I think, you know, you're 2 years down the road now. And I think where it is now is even if they TNT, TBS pull the plug, Tony won't. Tony ain't going to stop giving, like, backing it. The only way I could see Tony walking away is if, it's year after year after year of considerable losses. It's not working. The money's not coming in. But we are so far away from that 10 years' time, I do still see it being around, yes. And as we said, how much would Netflix pay for it? How much would Disney pay for it? You are getting a guaranteed fan base. You got to remember, when you create a new show, no idea if it's going to be a hit or if it's going to be a miss. No idea if it's going to work or if it's going to not work. You know what I mean? Like, you've got no idea as to how it's going to do. So, with this, guaranteed fan base. Guaranteed X amount of 100,000 will tune in. Like, at the moment, 800, 900,000. That's power. That is power. Joaquin said, who is the worst booker of all time? Don't know. I don't know all the bookers. I mean, if you go back to the territories, no idea. Who was that guy that they did Dark Side of the Ring about? Do you remember? He was it the UWF booker? And he was like blowing budgets, doing like cocaine, like going out partying all the time. Like, he was absolutely off his rocker. And like, I didn't know loads about him. Is it Herb Abrams? Herb Abrams is in my head. Herb Abrams. I'm going to just have a look at that to make sure that I'm not just completely making it up. Herb Abrams. American wrestling promoter. Yes. Herb Abrams, also known as Mr. Electricity, was an American wrestling promoter. And he promoted the UWF. And I think he just completely just blew budgets and was just a mess. It was such a chaos. There's a Dark Side of the Ring done about him, so he might be in the running. Wardlow gets slapped by MJF. You are my bodyguard. You and your family will be out on the street, MJF says to Wardlow. Wardlow takes it. Right. Adam Cole. They are dragging the Wardlow turn out too much. Channel name said an AEW WrestleMania-like event would get mainstream exposure with guest celebrity exposure. Something like Super Bash. Right, Adam Cole, reDRagon. This is our main event. Adam Cole and reDRagon. Who are they? Okay, so Adam Cole making his way down. So it is Silver, Reynolds, and Hangman. Silver, Reynolds, and Hangman. Days. Ethan and his family is moving to US in April. I am pleased for him that things are working out for him. Adam Cole has been playing Elden Ring all week on Twitch. Austin says, love handles. Aren't they the bits here on the side? Late getting here. What was Tony's announcement? He's bought Ring of Honor. So we've spent a lot of the stream talking about what that could potentially mean. Here's Silver, Reynolds, and Hangman. I just think... okay. Web hacker conversation. The Daily's Place crowd is disappointing, says Joel. I agree. I agree. I also think that it's a bit weird where the hard cam is. I wonder why it's there. It would be nice to get like more reaction of the crowd. Where I wonder why it's not the other way round. I wonder why the hard cam is not where it usually is. Instead, the hard cam right now, you've got like half the crowd and the other half is the entrance ramp. I wonder why it's not the other way around, so you can see the stage in the background and the fans. But yeah, they have been a bit quiet. I should have brought Elder Ring instead of Horizon. It's to show the logo, of Daily's Place. The Daily's Place logo. I mean, it does look nice. Do you think Tony needs a bigger money deal next time around? He only paid $43 million a year by Warner as opposed to WWE making 400s. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's going to go up. I mean, first of all, they got a TV deal, which was great. I mean, that, set them up. Then they extended, which was brilliant because it means they can breathe a sigh of relief that, they're not about to get cut. But I think now the ball's in their court because they've maintained those numbers. The networks have surely got to be really pleased with Dynamite. I don't know if the networks are pleased with Rampage. I don't know what their expectations are when it comes to Rampage. I don't know what they'd be looking for in that kind of a time slot. So I can't really comment on that. But they've got to surely be, impressed and pleased with what's happening with Dynamite. So, yeah, I've got to think they'll be looking for more next time around. Might be worth them actually having a conversation with a few other companies just to put the feelers out and see what would they get. It wouldn't hurt, would it? Send someone to have a word with Netflix and just be like, look, our contract's coming up and we're interested to see what people would potentially be willing to commit to. If I was Tony Khan, I'd be doing that. I'd be going and speaking to all these different streaming platforms, calling them up, trying to get meetings, and just getting the feelers out there as to, how much would they be willing to pay for Dynamite if it was available. Because that's going to give you a real good idea of what the market looks like. And then once you go into your negotiation, you'd want to stay with TNT TBS because they've been good to you. Unless someone massive comes in that would be huge exposure, and then you would absolutely take that. They need to make Rampage 2 hours. Do you think The Shield had a better debut than Nexus? The Nexus debut was pretty cool. I mean, if you can just comparing the two, just debut. I mean, the Shield run was undeniably better, but I feel like the Nexus debut might have been better than the Shield's because the Shield was only 3 people. Nexus was a lot more. I think the Nexus debut was better. But I don't think there was really much else after that was better than what the Shield did. The Shield, for me, are easily the better faction and maybe the best faction in WWE history. I might even take the Shield over the New Day. I think it's between the Shield or the New Day for the best faction. DX would be up there, of course. But, God, I love the Shield. I really do love the Shield. DX would be up there, though, as well. What happened when a faucet, a tomato, and some lettuce ran a race together? The lettuce was ahead, the faucet was running, and the tomato was trying to catch up. Very good. Jeremy says TNT is expected to extend in 2024 for a substantial raise. If HBO Sport got AEW, think of the dark matches they could have. Liv and Zelina Stan said Adam and reDRagon should win here. Keep him undefeated going into Revolution. Shield are definitely better than New Day. What about the Shield's lovely jumpers from their debut, though? Yes. They are... They've definitely got the jump on the Nexus on that. Down, round the back. I don't think they were jumpers, though, were they? Weren't they like more turtlenecks? But, yeah, they did slightly tweak the look. Naya has said she gets daily texts from friends about how miserable everyone is. She sounds bitter, says Primo. I would like to see rated RKO versus Roman and Rollins. It's an interesting conversation about like what's the best WWE faction. I guess Buddy is forever a follower. Yeah. He's in the House of Black, isn't he, now, doing kind of a similar gimmick to what he was doing when he was Seth's disciple. He's always got the opportunity to kind of break out from that, though. And that was the plan, I think, for when he was Seth's disciple, was they, you know, had him do matches and break away with Seth, but just that was it, wasn't it? As soon as, it was kind of a bit like Virgil. Once Virgil had like gone up against $1 Million Man, what else was there for him to do? Strikes coming in by Kyle O'Reilly. Sonny said I might make a Web Hacker diss track. Do it. Oh my god, that'd be brilliant. Do it. Biggest heel turn in WWE out of Austin joining the Alliance or Seth and the Authority? I think Seth. I think Seth was bigger because I think that the Austin one, people were like, what? I don't like, at the end of WrestleMania 17, it's kind of like, it's the flat note of WrestleMania 17. Like, whenever you talk about the best pay-per-view ever and you talk about 17, people tend to go, oh, I loved it, what a show. Well, except the turn at the end, like, but, you know, it's kind of like, oh yeah, apart from that, like, people didn't want him joining. It wasn't the right way forward. And then I think they realized, and they kind of made him a bit like comedy as well. And I mean, they tried to use him as part of the invasion angle, and you know, there was things that kind of came out of it. It wasn't like a complete disaster, but I think there's probably an acknowledgement it's not the right way forward. And I think even Stone Cold has said that he wouldn't turn now if he was to do it again. But you can't say that about the Seth one. The Seth one was perfect. Came out of nowhere. Didn't see it coming. Shield hadn't been together. I mean, they debuted at the end of 2012. They're split up by the middle of 2014. So it's like, it's deceptive. You think they were together for like 3 years or so. They weren't. It was like a year and a half. It was great. It came out of nowhere. So for me, it'd be the Seth. Or Sean on Marty. That was huge. The barbershop. That was huge. I think Seth was bigger. Stone Cold's my favorite. The Stone Cold turn just wasn't needed. Turn was the best part, says Lister Jericho. Larry Zabrisco on Bruno was the biggest heel turn, said Fate Ross Fate. Yeah, I mean, that was big. The only thing was that obviously was before, like, Satellite and wasn't seen by, like, as many people. But, yeah, that was big. And then led to the match they have at Shea. Showdown at Shea. And I do love that feud because it is like the pupil and the teacher, and he turns on him, and it's like a big betrayal, and it is very good. It was a good one to mention. Hogan was the biggest turn. You don't have to like him, but you can't deny that the NWO changed things at the time like no one else, says Shane. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree Hogan's turn was the biggest. I think we were focusing on WWE, to be honest, but open it out. Yeah, open it out. I think I would agree with the Hogan one. What's the situation with Cody? Is Vince scrapping WrestleMania plans? There's been no talk. I mean, fully expected to still come in, but we still don't know quite what those plans are, or when he's going to debut him, or I mean, WrestleMania plans might be in place. Cody could make his debut at WrestleMania. Might be they decide to debut him on the Raw after WrestleMania. I would imagine doing it at WrestleMania would be the wiser thing, to be honest, but there's probably a lot that they need to work out. Probably, I mean, they need to agree on what his gimmick's going to be, his music's going to be, what his feuds are going to be. There's probably a lot they need to work out. And don't forget, it all happened at a time where Vince was, like, getting ready for Saudi Arabia. So I don't really know how many meetings, obviously, they've had, or how often they're meeting up, or where they are with that process. But could be every chance we don't see him until the actual show. Life of Daz says, Sup Days, do you think with AEW in with Ring of Honor, is this AEW's NXT? I heard they might deal with HBO Max soon. We don't know, buddy. I mean, we spent a long time during this show. I can't rate this show today. So it's going to be all down to you guys to give this show a rating. Because I just haven't watched enough to fairly review it. But we've spent a long time talking about it, and they could go that way. They could treat it as completely separate, and it just, it does its own thing, and if someone's good, they bring that person to AEW. Or they could eventually make it like a second brand. But we were talking about the challenges of doing that. And as we said, it's been quite an interesting conversation. NWA was huge, but then put WCW out of business, says Fate Ross Fate. The Seth heel turn kicked off a huge chain of events, says Let Him In. Channel name says Bob Backlund turning on Brett was impressive. Heather says Hangman has better hair. I've said it. Adam Cole in the corner. Big boot by Reynolds. And a big kick coming back by Adam Cole. Paul Bearer returning on Taker was huge. Is there any football game tonight? There's one tomorrow. Well, tonight in the UK, yeah. Everton, Boreham Wood. Adam Cole with the pin. We're almost at 700 votes, so we'll see. Are people happy with Tony's announcement? Earlier it was 65-35. I haven't seen where it's at now, but normally once you've had a couple of hundred votes, it doesn't tend to move, so I would expect it to be around the same. Strikes coming in by Adam Cole. Here is Hangman. Undisputed Era win, says J14. Over the top goes Bobby Fish. Kick coming in by Bobby Fish as Hangman goes down. So Hangman's being beaten up here by Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole. And they're going to tie him against the ropes. They're gaffer taping him to the ropes. So they're wrapping that tape around. Silver just get in the ring. Oh, Silver was just thrown into the ring. High-low on Silver. Alex Reynolds. Panama Sunrise to him. And Hangman is tied against the ropes. Hangman is going to retain. I'm not sure why they had World Champs fight tonight. Where is Dark Order? Why are they taking so long? How likely will we see an ex-WWE female debut at Revolution? Gives the belt to Hangman. Life Dad said, if AEW signs to HBO Max, that would be cool. It's a bit quiet. I don't know. It's such a weird crowd. Like, they're not booing or anything at the end of that show. Like, it's a really weird crowd tonight. Like, normally, and that's Daly's place as well, so you would expect that to be hardcore AEW country, you know, like that's AEW coming home kind of a thing. But yeah, it was a very, very strange crowd tonight. It was a very strange crowd tonight. Let's end the poll and let's start a new poll and see what people thought of the show. So what did you score? What did you score the show? 8 to 10. What was the score on that, by the way? 68%. So, say 70%. 70-30. Around about 70-30. So, 70% of people enjoyed the announcement. 30% of people were hoping for something else. 575 or below. There we go. Crowd was so-so. That crowd had a "what the hell have I been watching for 2 hours" reaction, and so did I, says John. I honestly, I cannot score this. I can't even tell you if this was a good or a bad show. I genuinely don't know. I have no idea. So I don't know. So, I know that's not great, but we were so, like, trying to decode and talking about and throwing around ideas about Ring of Honor that, I mean, the first hour, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, completely gone for me. I saw bits, but not to the point where I could fairly score this. Not a clue. The only thing I can tell you is that I thought the crowd were quiet. I thought the beatdown of CM Punk was fairly brutal. There was, seeing him getting like beaten up. I thought that was, they did a good job with that. I thought that the Wardlow thing was very interesting. So I'll take that. But I mean, outside of that, I don't know. Joel said it was a good show, but not brilliant. A lot happened. Jay says 7. Letterman says 6. Primo says 6. What do you think about Cesaro's release? Well, apparently they wanted him to stay, but they offered him stupidly low money, and so rightfully he said no. I don't want to stay for that. So he ended up going. So no, respect. I mean, he wasn't going to get lowballed. I think it's a shame that they didn't value him in line with how he valued himself. But I don't think he would have been asking for crazy money. I think he would just want something reasonable. And it's totally believable that WWE were not reasonable. So, I think it's one of them. It's WWE, I don't think were too bothered about him sticking around, but they didn't particularly want him to go. But instead he's decided to go and not renew. And I don't think it was released, was it? I think his contract expired. I think it was that. I've definitely heard about the negotiations not working out, and that they tried to keep him. So Nick Khan is going to pull a Shane McMahon. Austin said 6.25. Zoomstation said nothing memorable besides Punk and MJF. Chicken Nugs says, what was the announcement? I couldn't watch. Tony now owns Ring of Honor. Cesaro might be the inaugural new champion of Ring of Honor. Primo said, I feel like the show took a hit after the Tony announcement because kicking that off squeezed all the juice and hype for the remainder of Dynamite. The crowd was better than the Raw crowd, says channel name. Shogoff said, I think it would have been better if they switched places with the announcement and the CM Punk promo. Yes. Just trying to think, though, with that kind of blood, did they need to get to the second hour in order to go that extreme? Could there be a case of we can't do that too early? I wonder. I wonder if you could have done the Ring of Honor thing right at the end and done that last match to start the show. Maybe you could have done Hangman and all of that at the start, kept the CM Punk thing around the middle, and done the Tony Khan announcement right at the end. Because then at least you would have watched the show, or I would have watched the show. And then now we'd be going, what? And now we'd be talking about Ring of Honor rather than during the show. Austin said, the first hour was boring. The Battle Royal just didn't do it for me. The announcement should have ended the show, says James. It was a great announcement, but could have been even better if Cody had come out and said the name on the contract reads Cody Rhodes. If Heyman ever gets released, Khan should hire him straight away as a consultant. Daly's crowd attendance is under 1,000. They only put 1,000 tickets out for sale. Tony should have made the announcement on Rampage instead. Was not much of a big announcement. It was overhyped, says Aaron. Is it me, or I noticed the 1 hour of Dynamite is a high point and the second hour sometimes is a bit of a miss? JR did his best to sell Hangman as champion. Corvid said it was undoubtedly a massive announcement. Shogoff said, if you reverse the show, it's way better because you start with the tag match, the middle CM Punk, and end with the announcement. Trey, good night. Legend Killer scores it 6 out of 10. We've had 130 votes in so far. We'll stick around for a few more minutes to get those final votes in. See what people think of the show. As I said, I can't give you a score on this one. I genuinely don't know. There's nothing that would like be taking me like down to like, low levels. The only things, I mean, there was a couple of things that I saw that was like, didn't like that. The hug I wasn't into with CM Punk MJF, but at least MJF delivered the low blow, and then we got that brutal beatdown. So I liked where it went. The goddamn tag battle royal. You know how I keep saying it's so annoying if you've got Fight TV, because when you go to commercial break, you lot, we still get to see it. There's big parts in that battle royal where there's loads of teams that are just lying down and not doing anything. And I really think, I'd have to double check. I'd think that that's because we're at commercial, and so the teams are just lying there resting until we come back, because all of a sudden after a while, then everyone's back up roughly at the same time. So my guess is they were all lying down during the commercial break. So those kind of things I do look at and go, God, please stop doing this. Just for Fight TV, just put a black screen. I'd rather not see. If there's stuff that I'm not meant to see, then just I don't want to see it. Just I'd much rather like just go to a black screen and watch a black screen than watch like things that you don't know if you're at commercial break or not. Or and it's nothing. There's nothing of value when we go to commercial break. I've said before, and I think I'm going to keep saying it every week. I wish they would sort that out. Have the wrestlers like, doing stuff during commercial break, or put a black screen up. I'd much rather they did that on Fight TV. So yeah, if ever you're at commercial thinking, wow, what amazing action I'm missing, you're not missing anything. The announcement was left open, says Big Time Baxter. Was left open. Ended. There's a lot of questions with no answers. Rob said it lacks heat because Hangman is not as over as they hoped once we get past the entrances. Sean said if Cody goes back to WWE, I can see him showing up after WrestleMania. It's like they forget it's still being shown on Fight. Well, they did at the start, which is why we used to be able to hear the commentators talking amongst themselves and talking about what's coming up next in the script. So they did used to forget that it was on Fight TV, and that was brilliant. I used to love that. But then they did very quickly realise. And so you do get a bit of commentary during it. But yeah, the action in ring is they definitely take that as an opportunity to have a breather. They should run the picture-in-picture BS during the overly long promos, then we really wouldn't be missing anything. If there was only a way to force your TV to display a black screen. Yeah, but I wouldn't know when to turn it back on. Plus, I don't have to do that. I don't have to turn it off. I mean, I don't even know when we've gone to commercial break because I have to have the sound down because obviously we're streaming. So I have the sound turned down. So I just find myself watching the matches. And as I'm watching the matches, I'm kind of like, well, this is boring. No one's doing anything. And then I kind of go, oh, hang on. Are we at a commercial break? Like, I genuinely don't know. And it has taken me out of a few matches in the past. So it's just kind of like, if you're not going to do anything and it's not like adding value to the match, and to a degree at times it can take away, then just put a black screen up. Has the buzz and momentum of AEW cooled off? I remember they were on such a high in the summer and the fall. I think it's the same as it's been, to be honest, for a long time. I think that they are doing a bit better since they brought in Bryan Danielson and they brought in, well, I would say Adam Cole, but the current feud's not quite where it needs to be. But I do think once we start getting like Undisputed Era against Elite, then we could start getting somewhere. So I kind of feel like since Danielson in particular came in, like it's gotten, You know, there's been some incredible moments, incredible matches. Him against Omega, him against Hangman, some brilliant promos. Him against Moxley. I'm down for, you know, can't wait to see how it's going to go. So, yeah, I definitely think there's been some decent stuff in recent times. I think the hardcores are still going to be hardcores. I think the casuals are still going to be casuals. I don't think there's much to, like, kind of sway that. Like, there's nothing terrible that's going to mean the hardcores are going to walk away now. I don't think there's anything maybe too electric that's going to get the casuals, like, now turned into hardcores. I just kind of think we are where we've been, to be honest. But there's definitely a lot of potential with some of these feuds and things. And apparently Tony has said a lot of new stories are going to start at Revolution. A lot of new stories. So that's something else to be aware of as well. Did tonight raise your excitement for Sunday? Not for me personally, no, because again, I have to admit, I didn't really watch this show all that closely because it was on and there was a lot of matches seemingly that you didn't need to really pay too much attention to. Like, didn't really matter to me who won in the Thunder Rosa Britt Baker tag match because, well, it doesn't change the fact they're having a match on Sunday for the title. So that didn't matter. Didn't matter to me who won out of Bryan Danielson and Christopher Daniels. Bryan Danielson's going to be facing Jon Moxley, and this match isn't going to change that. The tag match went on for a while, the Battle Royal, so you didn't need to watch it. You only needed to catch the end to see who won. So for me, like, the Ring of Honor news took me out of the show. So I can't say that it made me more excited. I can't say that it made me any less excited, though. It was a go-home, wasn't it? It was putting the final touches on things. And we all know what go-home shows are like. So, you know, didn't do anything to make me more excited, but didn't make me less excited either. Do you think wrestling should have a week off and not do go-homes? I think go-homes are important because for the casual fans, the people that don't watch every week, they just watch once in a while, it's kind of important to go, this is happening on Sunday, it's a really big deal, we've got this and this is why it's happening, we got this and this is why it's happening. You can make the argument that that's what the kickoff show should do, and that's what the kickoff shows do. But I think if you've got the TV ad money coming in and all of this kind of stuff, it would be a bit silly to sacrifice that just because, you know, typically a go home is just the final touches. I suppose in a way, though, you know, as a fan, when you know it's go home, you do tend to go like, to go home, like, you know, all the matches are in place. There's not really much that we're going to get here. Although, you know, at least with this show, we got the Ring of Honor announcement, which I know is nothing to do with the go home. You know, that's just a big bit of news they dropped on, but at least they gave us that. I mean, people wanted to tune in to see what that was going to be, so we got that. And you had as well the beatdown of CM Punk, and he was all blooded up and everything, which, you know, as we said, they, you know, turned up the aggression quite a bit because there's, you know, this has got to be the last image you think of, really, and it's there's not really much time for anything else. So, you know, beat him up, leave him battered and bloody, and so, you know, we got that as well. So, you know, there's things you can do, contract sign-ins and all that kind of stuff. You know, it maybe opens it out to some other things that you wouldn't normally do. But yeah, by and large, I think when you know it's go home, you do tend to be like, no. Tonight's show didn't make me any more or less excited. I hope Dem Boys the Briscoes will show up, says James. I remember when the show before a pay-per-view was the biggest show of the month. It's crazy. Now it's just lame, says Master Chief. Will you do a prediction stream for Revolution? Nah, we'll probably start a bit before, to be honest. We'll probably start early, so I haven't actually planned out the weekend yet, but of course we're doing UFC 272, and of course we're doing AEW Revolution. I have got another channel that does football as well, so I've got football matches to do. So I do need to get it kind of planned out, but I think the current plan is we will start, a good hour before, as we tend to, hour before the kickoff show or the buy-in or whatever it's called. We'll probably start an hour before, digest. I'm sure by that point we'll have maybe a bit more clarity on Ring of Honor stuff. And maybe some of the plans they've got in place, or what the latest is, or when the deal was done, how much it costs, what Tony's thinking of doing with it. Like, maybe we'll have some stuff on that. Who knows? There might be some word on. Isn't there still someone to go into the ladder match? There's a TBD. So, I said it's all about surprises in wrestling at the moment. And that's another one, I think, that we don't quite know who it's going to be. So there is a TBD for that ladder match. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of speculation around that. So there'll be plenty for us to talk about. Probably we'll drop in predictions in there. So Daily Place was holding a memorial service for Cody no longer being there to bring the grand entrances, unpredictable 50-50 feuds where our hero goes over. Brandy Lambert Classics. Cody, says Robs. Revolution buy-in starts at 12. Okay. So we'll start at 11, maybe before, but in all fairness, I don't know if we'll need to. I suppose it all depends how much news there is and whatever. But, pencil it in for like the hour before that. Oh, wow, we've done a lot of talking. Right, let's get a few more just final comments, because there's still big comments. Big T said, Ring of Honor, where do you think this leaves the company? Will they return on TV? Maybe take over Rampage? Will it be on its own? Yeah, I mean, we don't know is the answer. I mean, there's a couple of ways you can take it. The most logical would be to keep it doing what it's been doing. Just make sure that it's like not losing money. But, a scaled down sort of AEW that's king of the indies. If you've got an indie talent, you can put them into Ring of Honor, give them a go. I mean, if you want to see what someone's like, you can put them in Ring of Honor, or you could put them onto AEW. If like Dark Elevation. What if you've got someone that you like? Say LMK, yeah, Little Mean Kathleen, right? So you've got Little Mean Kathleen, you sign her, you're like, I like this girl, right? So you sign her, but you're not ready to put her on Dynamite. She ain't going to be competing with Britt Baker and all of this kind of stuff. So what's your alternative? Just keep giving them match after match after match on Dark and Elevation. I wonder if now what he does is he goes, okay, I'm going to put you in Ring of Honor. I'm going to put you in Ring of Honor, and you're going to have some feuds and some stories. And, like, it's going to be a case that they really cut their teeth there. And they're, proper getting ready for moving up to Dynamite. And even then, like, I wonder if you could have some Ring of Honor talent that gets involved in, like how NXT talent used to be involved in the Rumble. I wonder if you could have some Ring of Honor talent that kind of comes in and gets involved in, like, Casino Battle Royals, and all of that kind of stuff. So I would think that Ring of Honor would probably be basically NXT. And, it'd basically be where you'd put someone like LMK until she's, like, totally comfortable and ready, and you've, more importantly, got something for her. Because it's all well and good signing these great wrestlers, but it's so hard to have something for them to do. So you could, at least now, you can put them in Ring of Honor. Because at the moment, you've just got to keep giving them matches on Dark and Elevation. But putting them in Ring of Honor is, much better for someone you've signed that you've got long-term plans for. Whereas at the moment, Dark and Elevation, that's just for, like, seeing people. Maybe, like, Dark and Elevation is where you try people. If you like them, you put them in Ring of Honor. And maybe that's the conveyor belt now. Do you know what I mean? So Dark and Elevation is just one-off matches here and there. Let's try this person. Let's try that person. Let's get this person from England. Let's get that person from Mexico. Let's get this person from Japan. Let's get this person from GCW. Let's get this person from Bar. Let's get this person from Beyond, or whatever it might be. Given matches in Elevation and Dark. Did I like it? You need a bit more time, I think, on the indie scene. We'll give you a call in a month. or I really like it. I want you. I want to give you a contract, and I want to put you in Ring of Honor. I wonder if it could be something like that. So, yeah, I mean, you could go that way. There's a few different ways that you could take it. Primo says, I'm hearing... We're going to stay around till past because I wasn't sticking around this long, but there's so much, like... It's natural, innit? Look, the Ring of Honor thing has got everyone talking. I'm hearing Ring of Honor might have been sold for about 20 to 30 million, which is why WWE wouldn't be interested. Sinclair was charging a lot. If it is 20 to 30, that is a lot, because I think it was 2 million for WCW, which obviously was at a dirt cheap cut down price. But 20 to 30 million for Ring of Honor, that is a lot. Do you think on Raw and SmackDown we'll get any surprises or returns added for WrestleMania? I think there'll probably be a few other bits and bobs, yes. But I think by and large that WrestleMania card's shaping up, or we've got a good idea of where it's going. What are you more excited for? UFC, Revolution, or the Manchester Derby? Difficult. Revolution, I think, is about 50-50 on the match card of things I'm looking forward to. So there's matches on there, like, say, Hangman Adam Cole, that doesn't really grab me, but I'm not like... I don't hate it. Jade Cargill, Ty Conti, I don't need. Any kind of, like, tag matches, like, you know, the... Sammy and Darby and Sting being in a tag team. Don't need that. So those kind of matches I'm not too fussed by. So I kind of feel like CM Punk, MJF I'm into. Britt and Thunder I'm into. Danielson, Moxley. I think there's around about 4 matches I'm probably into when it comes to the Revolution, and then the rest are like, well, we'll see how they go, right? So that, for that reason, probably means that UFC and the Manchester Derby would probably be ahead of that. And then I think it's quite close between UFC and the Manchester Derby, to be honest. I'll probably go UFC because I'm fearing the worst in the Manchester Derby. I'm thinking United are going to lose. I'm thinking it's more likely United lose. So it's hard to get excited for seeing United lose to Man City. But there's a slither that we could get a draw or something. So I'll go UFC. You stayed till 5 minutes after the stream. I didn't know Khan and his dad owned Fulham. Yes. WCWB had no TV and Time Warner wanted it off the books. That's why Vince got such a great deal, says Robs. That is true. There was, as you say, reasons for it. They didn't want wrestling on the network. But still, puts it into perspective as to the fact that, you know, I mean, Sinclair, I think, have been losing money and they've been struggling. So 20 to 30 would be crazy money. I'm not saying that it would be a bad deal, because I honestly don't know how much that tape library is worth. And certainly over time, you'd have to think that you would make 20 to 30 million back. I got to think, like, just from merch over the years. Do you know what I mean? Like T-shirts and all this kind of stuff. You ain't going to make 20, 30 million. But that's going to, you know, you'll make a chunk back that way. Putting out documentaries, making documentaries that use that footage, you know, the tape library you might be able to sell. I got to think you'd make it back. So it's a lot of money, though. It is a lot of money. Would you like to see AEW pay-per-views, or do you like the schedule as it is? Oh, more pay-per-views. I wouldn't mind seeing more, but I don't think people would want to pay for them. I think at the moment, like, is it 4 a year? That's what, like, you know, $200 or whatever. I think that people think it's expensive, but I think people have budgeted for it and they know it. I don't think you could bring in more and charge people that kind of money. So you would have to drop that price. I'm the same way. I know for 15 minutes or 15 years you show love. That's how I was raised. Are they the same Sinclair that owns gas stations? I don't know. We don't have Sinclair gas stations here, to be honest, so I can't comment. Oh wow, this has worked out really well actually. We got 2 minutes and then we're gonna go, and we got 2 votes needed, and then we'll be at 200. So that's kind of worked out really well. People saying good night, and as we said, we will wrap up in a minute or so. Yeah, the Ring of Honor news has absolutely just flipping dominated everything, hasn't it? Do you think Jeff Hardy will be on AEW? Yes. I don't know if that'll be this weekend, but yeah, I do. Works out $1 million a year for how long Ring of Honor has been around, and that is 20 years this year. Do you think United's put on at shooting boots? I think United are going to improve, and I think that do I think we're going to start smashing teams? We might get the odd result, but to be honest, I think we've got a few tricky games coming up. Like obviously we've got Man City and we've got Liverpool still to play, and I want to say maybe an Arsenal. I think looking at the fixtures, there's some easier fixtures, but I don't know. I could see it just being like, I think this season we just got to try and fight for top 4 and see where we get to. So I wouldn't hold out hope that we're going to start smashing teams 3-4-0 or whatever. Liz Jericho said $50 is insane. $20 here is too much. 200 votes. Let's see what people think then. I can't comment on this one, so we'll see what people thought of it. Lovely. Hardy for the ladder match and Lethal back on Ring of Honor, says Chicken Nugs. Right, 8 to 10 got 35%. 27% was 7 to 7.5. 24% was 6 to 6.75. And 12% was 5.75 or below. So that's what you lot thought. Little bit divided, quite relatively close between like 8 to 10. No, there's about 8% difference between 8 to 10 and 7 to 7.5, and then 3% between 7.75 and 6.75. 5.75 or below was well out on its own. So seems like the majority of people felt that this was 6 or above, with 8 to 10 taking around about a third of the votes in total. So seems like people enjoyed it, certainly for a go home. And probably helped quite a bit by the Ring of Honor news. Right, we're done. Awesome, good conversation, and we'll see how Tony uses Ring of Honor as we move forward. We are back tomorrow with Everton and Boreham Wood over on Football Days. We're back on this channel with UFC 272 press conference. We also are back on Friday with SmackDown. And then, of course, we're back at the weekend with UFC 272 itself and AEW Revolution and a load of football matches as well. So, awesome, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate the support. See you again next time. Bye for now.